This is Retro Sports Radio. Visit RetroSeasons.com for more sports history.
At the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, it's the New York Mets meeting the Houston Astros. Rheingold brings you National League Baseball with the New York Mets. Rheingold, New York's best-selling beer. In New York City, where there are 302 different beers, one has made it to the top. Rheingold. Either you have it or you don't, and Rheingold's got it.
New York Mets baseball is also brought to you by Armory Garage, Central at Colvin and Albany. He's out to win you over with the winningest deal of the year on a new Plymouth.
Hi, everybody. This is Bob Murphy with Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner. All set with our radio coverage of tonight's game between the New York Mets and the Houston Astros here on the fabulous Astrodome. Right now, Grady Hatton, the Houston skipper, and Wes Westrom, the manager of the New York Mets, are moving out to home plate to exchange the batting order slips and discuss the ground rules with Shag Crawford's umpiring team. The starting pitchers in tonight's game for the New York Mets on the mound will be left-hander Dennis Bennett. For the Houston Astros, southpaw Bo Belinsky. We'll be back with the start of tonight's game in just one moment.
All right, kill the motor. Man, you practiced buddy breathing in the tank. Now we'll try it under 6 fathoms of water. Let's go.
You were with a Marine recon officer as he and his 3 teammates dived to the ocean's floor. There is one small catch. For 4 men, there are only 2 tanks of air.
The Eagle's globe and anchor means air and land and sea.
Here below the ocean's surface, this Marine officer leads his men in a recon scuba training exercise. One man breathing from the life-giving air tanks while a teammate waits his turn. 10,000 miles away, another Marine officer scales a mountain ridge with his platoon. Each is doing the same vital job, leading men. If you are a college man, take the first step now. Leadership will follow.
When the Eagle globe and anchor of a United States Marine.
Now here at the Astrodome, as the conference breaks up at home plate, for the lineups and batting orders for tonight's game, let's check with Ralph Kiner.
Okay, Bob Murphy. The leadoff batter for the Mets will be Bud Harrelson playing shortstop. Bud has batted .361 in the month of July with 43 hits and 119 times up. Batting second and playing center field, Cleon Jones. Batting third, playing left field, Tommy Davis. Tommy with a 6-game batting streak. Batting fourth and playing right field, Ron Swoboda. Batting fifth and playing third base, Ed Charles. Batting sixth and catching, Greg Koosman. Batting seventh, playing first base, Ed Kranepool. Batting eighth and playing second base, Phil Linz. And the pitcher, Dennis Bennett, batting in the ninth position. For the Astros, Ron Davis will lead off and play left field. Batting second and playing second, Joe Morgan. Batting third and playing in center field, Jim Wynn. He leads the National League in home runs with 27 and the Major Leagues in runs batted in with 83. Batting fourth and playing right field, Rusty Staub. Rusty leads the Major Leagues in batting with a .363 mark. Batting fifth and playing third base, Bob Aspromonte. Batting sixth and playing first base, Doug Rader. Doug just brought up from the minor league. Batting seventh and catching, John Bateman. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, Bobby Lillis. And the ninth batter will be the pitcher, Bo Belinsky. The umpires for this game, Shag Crawford will be the umpire behind home plate. At first base, it'll be Chris Pellicudis. At second base, Doug Harvey. At third base, John Kibler. Mets playing the third game of their 5-game series. The Astros won the first game by a score of 9-1 in the first game of the doubleheader yesterday. Winning pitcher, should say, in the second game of the doubleheader yesterday, the winning pitcher in that ball game was John Wilson. First game, the Astros won by a score of 6-5, and the winning pitcher in that ball game was the left-hander Wade Blasingame. Now the Astros are taking the field. Mets will have a single game on Tuesday night. Don Cardwell pitching for the Mets against Dave Justy, and then a single game on Wednesday, Bob Henley against Mike Cuellar, and the Mets coming home for a day off on Thursday and the start of a 9-game series, starting with the San Francisco Giants on Friday. Tom Seaver will pitch that Friday night game against the Giants. Mets have a record of 39-60. The Astros have won 45-49. The Mets are 3.5 games behind the Houston Astros. And now our national anthem. From Houston, Texas. And the third game of this 5-game series about to get underway. This broadcast comes to you through the courtesy of Rango Breweries Incorporated and the New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut Chrysler Plymouth Dealers Association, and is authorized under radio rights granted by the New York Mets solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the descriptions and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets is prohibited. Well, the Mets and Astros have met 9 times so far this year, and the Astros, with their doubleheader win yesterday, have the advantage by a 5-4 margin. Here in Houston, the Mets have not won a ball game inside of the 4 they have played. Astros playing strong baseball. They have won 6 consecutive games, and they have won 13 of their last 14 games here inside in the Astrodome. The Mets are currently working on a 5-game losing streak. Their last win was over the Giants. They had lost 3 to the Dodgers and now 2 here to the Astros. Right now, it's Bo Belinsky taking his warm-up pitches on the mound. He'll be opposed by left-hander Dennis Bennett, who is still throwing down in the bullpen for the Mets. And this ball game about to get underway. And here for the play-by-play, Lindsey Nelson.
Thank you very much, Ralph Cannon. Hello, everybody. Bud Harrelson waiting outside the batter's box now until Bo Belinsky gets finished with his warm-up tosses. And this ball game will get underway. The Chicago Cubs have recalled outfielder Byron Brown to replace Paul Popovich, who is going into the National Guard. The Atlanta Braves have recalled pitcher Clay Carroll from Richmond. They have put Tony Cloninger on the disabled list. He never did fully recover from that eye ailment, and so he's going back on the disabled list. Boston Red Sox have recalled Dave Moorhead, a pitcher, and they have sent out pitcher Gary Wadlewski. Those personnel changes being made. Houston Astros have sent Chuck Harrison down to Oklahoma City. He sustained a broken thumb yesterday. They already had 2 men on the disabled list, Sonny Jackson and Ron Brown, so had to send him down, and they brought up Doug Rader to replace him. Now, Bud Harrelson is in and waiting with a batting average of .287. He has 18 runs batted in. Facing the left-hander, Bo Belinsky, and the pitch is high and off the glove of catcher Johnny Bateman. Goes all the way back to the screen. In the month of July, Bud Harrelson has hit at a clip of .361. Harrelson has hit safely in 23 of the 29 games that he's played in July. This pitch is low. 2-0 to Harrelson with Cleon Jones waiting on deck. Bo Belinsky has won 2 games and lost 6 for the Houston Astros. Here's a pitch low. He goes behind 3-0. Belinsky lost to the Mets 4-2 on July 18th at Shea Stadium. He started, went 4 2/3 innings. He allowed 4 runs on 6 hits. He walked 2 and he struck out 3. Belinsky does a little work on the rubber. Now looks in to take a sign from John Bateman. Here's a 3-0 pitch, and it's in there for a called strike. Harrelson taking all the way on the coaching lines for the Mets. Yogi Berra is at first base, and Salty Parker is on the lines around at third. 30-year-old Bo Belinsky with a 3-1 pitch that's in there for a called strike 2. Last year with the Phillies, Belinsky won none, lost 2. With San Diego, he won 2 and lost 4. 3-2 pitch low, and Bud Harrelson draws a walk. So the Mets pick up an early base runner, and Cleon Jones is the batter. Hitting .215, he has 4 homers and 19 runs batted in. There's a group of about 50 youngsters down in the left field corner, and they've started a chant of "Let's Go Mets," and they have Mets banners and Mets pennants and all sorts of paraphernalia down there to root for the New Yorkers. Cleon Jones is a right-hand batter. Doug Rader, the first baseman, holds against Harrelson. Here's a swing and a ground ball foul up the first base line. Cleon Jones has 11 hits in his last 26 times at bat. That's a clip of 423. Tommy Davis moves out to the on-deck circle. Now the pitch. Swung on and fouled off to the right side, out of play. 2-strike count to Cleon Jones. The Astros are on the infield, have Doug Rader at first, Joe Morgan at second, Bob Lillis at short, and Bob Aspromonte at third. Ron Davis in left, Jim Wynn in center, and Rusty Staub are on in right. John Bateman is catching. Now Bo Belinsky sets up to check the runner. 2-strike delivery. Swung on it on the ground to third. On by Aspromonte into left field. Harrelson turns and holds at second as Ron Davis returns the ball. And Cleon Jones is on at first. And an error is charged against Aspromonte. So the Mets have runners at first and second. That was a ground smash to third, and as Aspromonte moved over to try to play it on the hop, he suddenly pulled back, and the ball went on by him out into left field. It scored as an error, bringing up Tommy Davis, who has hit safely in his last 6 games. He's been hitting at a .385 clip over that stint to give him for the season an average of .308. He has 14 home runs and 52 runs batted in, leading the New York Mets in both of those important departments. Johnny Bateman has gone out for a brief conference now with pitcher Bo Belinsky. Runners lead at first and second. Pitch to the right-hand batter. Swung on and lined into right for a base hit. Harrelson is getting a green light from Salty Parker at third. He's coming home. Rusty Staub's throw. Not in time. Harrelson scores standing up, and Cleon Jones goes to third. On at first with a single to right on a run batted in, Tommy Davis. For Tommy, RBI number 53. The Mets are out in front by a score of 1-0. That brings up Ron Swoboda, hitting cleanup in manager Wes Westham's batting order. Swoboda has a season's batting average of .252. He has 7 homers and 24 runs batted in. He's a right-hand batter. And Barry Latman gets up to throw now down in the bullpen for the Houston Astros. Right-hander Barry Latman. Runners at first and third take their lead. And the pitch is inside low to Swoboda. Ball 1. Ed Charles moves out on deck. Now again, Belinsky sets up and checks. Deals a pitch. It's high and away. He goes behind 2-0. The Astros have won 6 straight. It is their longest winning streak of this season and their longest of any season since May of 1965. The Astros have won 7 of their last 8, 15 of their last 23, 13 of their last 14 at home. Against the Mets for the full season series, Houston has won 5, lost 4. But here at the Astrodome, Houston is 4-0. The Mets haven't won one indoors. Here's a pitch. Inside low. Count goes 3-0 to Ron Swoboda. Bo Belinsky reaches down now. Picks up a pebble and tosses it aside. Here's forward to get the sign. This will be a 3-0 pitch. And it's high. Swoboda walks on 4 pitch balls to load the bases. It will bring up Ed Charles. Second walk issued in this inning by Bolensky. Charles is a right-hand batter hitting .268 with 3 homers and 19 runs batted in. The Mets are leading here by a score of 1-0 with nobody out. Brief conference. Second baseman Joe Morgan, shortstop Bob Lillis, first baseman Doug Rader in for a conference with Bolensky. By the way, Rader's playing first base, a position he has not played since the Instructional League of 1966. Bolensky works straight away, and the pitch is inside low, rolls a few feet away from Bateman. He recovers. There's no advance by the base runners at first, second, and third. A count of 1-0 now to Ed Charles. Catcher Greg Goosman has moved out on deck. This is a 1-0 delivery. And it's in for a called strike as Charles started to go and laid off. The umpire behind the plate is Chad Crawford, and Charles is discussing it with him. Chris Pellicudis is at first, Doug Harvey is at second, and John Kibler is around at third. The 1-1 pitch to Charles inside, and again off the glove of Bateman. He keeps it right at the base of the plate in front of him to prevent any advance by the base runners. The count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. Leon Jones at third, Tommy Davis at second, and Ron Swoboda is at first base. Two-run pitch. Swung on and fouled off right down into the dirt. Count holds at 2-2 now to Ed Charles. Bolensky takes the sign. Works straight away with a 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. He strikes out Ed Charles. First strikeout, 1 away. Bases still loaded. And Greg Goosman's coming up. Hitting .280 for the season. 1 run batted in. He's a right-hand batter. Bolensky goes to the rosin bag, now turns his back to the plate to rub up the ball a little bit. In the crowd here tonight, Solly Hemus, former Met coach and last year a minor league manager in the Met system. He managed Jacksonville in the International League, and Greg Goosman was his catcher there. Here's a pitch. It is in for a call strike. So Goosman and Hemus were doing a little visiting before the start of tonight's ball game. The Goose up there now with a strike, 1 count. Now the pitch. Going right in this full curveball. He had Goosman way out in front. So quickly Bolensky goes to a 2-strike count. Ed Craneville is waiting there on deck. The Mets won. The Astros nothing. 2-strike delivery. Inside, and it's just by Bateman. It's rolling back to the screen, and Jones comes home to score. It's a wild pitch. Charged against Bolensky as runners move up all around. Jones scoring. Tommy Davis to third. Ron Swoboda to second. The Mets lead 2-0. This was inside low. Bateman got a glove on it, but did not deflect it. It came right on back. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes to Goosman with runners at second and third. The Astros play it infield in now. 1 man out. Here's a swing and a miss as again. It was a breaking pitch that Goosman chased for the strikeout. That'll bring up Craneville, a left-hand batter, to face the left-hand pitcher. Second strikeout for Bolensky in the inning. Craneville is hitting .287. He has 8 homers and 36 runs batted in. Craneville against left-handed pitching this year has batted .321. He's had 17 hits and 6 runs batted in off left-handers. And that's in for a called strike. Tommy Davis at third, Ron Swoboda at second, 2 away. Mets 2, Houston nothing. Bill Lentz has moved out on deck. Rainfield steps back out of the batter's box. Now settles himself back in, measures his stance. The pitch. Swung on and hit in the air to left field. Ron Davis moves over and makes the catch, and the side is out.
So the Mets picked up 2 runs on only 1 hit. There was 1 error and 2 Mets left. So the score in the middle of the first is the Mets 2 and the Astros coming to bat.
Zero in on performance and a feel of luxury that lets you know this is your car, Plymouth 1967. Zero in on savings and the kind of selection that lets you know this is your dealer. Armory Garage in Albany, where prices have never been better. The salesmen at Armory want to show you all the 67 Plymouths, Furies, and Belvederes. Then they want to show you how easy it is for you to own one. Your present car will probably cover the down payment, and the balance can be comfortably taken care of over 3 years or less. Choose from any one of Armory's 101-time payment plans. Armory has carloads of new cars in stock ready for your inspection and immediate delivery. So swing into a new Plymouth, Fury, or Belvedere and make your choice now while the selection is high. Hurry, though, to Armory Garage, Central at Colvin in Albany, your Chrysler, Plymouth, and Valiant volume headquarters.
We're going to the bottom half of the first inning now, and on the mound for the New York Mets is Dennis Bennett. He has a record of 1 win and 1 loss with the Mets. With the Boston Red Sox before coming over to the Mets on June 24th, he had won 4 and lost 3. He has not faced Houston this season. He has defeated the St. Louis Cardinals 2-1 on July 16th, lost to the Dodgers 3-0 July 21st. Bennett has appeared in 7 games for the Mets with 5 starts. Ron Davis is up to lead off, hitting .228, 4 homers, and 24 runs batted in. Right-hand batter facing the left-hand pitcher. And it delivers low for a ball. Ron Davis was the hero of the 6-5 victory of the Astros over the Mets in the first game yesterday, when in the top half of the 9th inning, he took a drive off the batter Ron Swoboda and threw Bob Johnson out at the plate. Here is a pitch in for a called strike. Johnson would have been tying run. He had tagged and tried to score after the catch by Davis. He threw a strike right into the glove of John Bateman at the plate. So he's up there now with a 1-1 count. It's low and away for a ball, 2-1. On the coaching lines for the Astros, Nellie Fox at first base and Jim Busby around at third. Here's a 2-1 delivery, and it's outside. The count goes 3 balls and 1 strike. The Mets have an infield of Ed Cranepool at first, Phil Limbs at second, Bud Harrelson at short, and Ed Charles at third. Tommy Davis in left, Leon Jones in center, and Ron Swoboda in right. 3-1 pitch. Swung on and hit deep to center field. Leon Jones is going back to the warning track. It's going, and it's gone. A home run for Ron Davis. It is his 5th home run of this season. And the pyrotechnic display goes on here at the Astrodome, symbolic of a hometown home run. Quickly, the Astros get back one of the 2 runs that they gave up in the top of this inning. It is the Mets 2 and the Astros 1. Joe Morgan coming up, hitting .293 with 4 homers and 29 runs batted in. We're waiting until the fireworks have subsided. I don't know whether the hand is for the fireworks or the home run. Here's a swing and a drive, and the center field hits the base hit. Leon Jones one-hopped it, lays it to second, and Morgan signs for 2, and he's in there standing with a double. The throw for Jones was taken by relay man Bill Lentz and dropped, so it scored as a double. And very quickly, the Astros have the tying run at second, with Jim Wynn coming up. Hitting .271. He has 83 runs batted in, and he has 27 home runs. He leads the major leagues in RBI. And we're getting action down in the Met bullpen now as Ron Taylor is up to throw. You may recall in the second game yesterday, Wynn had a double and 2 home runs. One of them was an inside-the-park homer. He hit numbers 26 and 27 in the home run department in the second game yesterday. Morgan gets the jump, goes to third to throw, and he is safe. Stolen base. Joe Morgan got a good jump on Bennett, and although Koosman rifled the ball down there, a good peg at the stolen base. Number 10 for Joe Morgan. So at this point, the Astros have the tying run at third base with nobody out. And a count of ball 1 to Jim Wynn at the plate. Wynn left the game yesterday after having been up 3 times because he said he had had a couple of dizzy spells and he was sent to the hospital for observation. However, came back ready to play tonight. 1-0 pitch. Curveball is chopped up the middle. It'll score a run. Morgan crosses the plate. Harrelson throws on in time to make the play. So there is 1 man out. The score is tied 2-2, and Rusty Staub is coming up. Run batted in for Jim Wynn on the infield out, number 84. Rusty Staub is leading the major leagues in batting with a mark of .363, 7 homers and 48 runs batted in. Then it's Bennett's pitch, turns him inside for a ball. Bob Aspromonte is swinging bats on deck. Nobody on base, 1 man out, and the score tied, 2-2. Low and away for a ball. It's 2-0. The return throw rolls away from Dennis Bennett and is retrieved now by Ed Charles, the third baseman. Rusty Staub with the bat cocked, and here's a 2-0 pitch. Right in there for a tall strike. It's 2-1. Two-one delivery. Low and away, off the glove of Koosman and all the way back to the screen. So the count runs out to 3-1 now to Staub. The temperature inside the Astrodome here is a constant 72 degrees. At this moment outside, the Houston temperature is 88 degrees. The high here today was 95. Here's a pitch hit on the ground to the right side. Painful can't get it, and Mueller can left and goes through for a base hit. Scooped up by Swoboda, play back. It is the third hit of the inning for the Astros with Rusty Staub first with a single to right. And Aspromonte's coming up. Ron Taylor continues to throw in the Met bullpen. Cranepool, the first baseman, went for the ground ball, tried to flag it, could not, and Bill Lentz had gone deep on the rim of the AstroTurf in right, and he could not get a glove on it either, so it went through cleanly for a base hit. Cranepool holding against Rusty Staub with Aspromonte up there, batting average of .299, 5 homers and 36 runs batted in. Pitch is low for a ball. Aspromonte was recently out for a good long stretch with a full thigh muscle, and he still is not 100%. But he's in the lineup here tonight. 1-0 pitch is on away for a ball. 2-0. Doug Rader has moved out on deck, and Wes Westrom calls time and goes to the mound. The Met manager goes to the mound with a count 2-0 on Aspromonte, and right-hand pitcher Ron Taylor down there in the bullpen, continuing to throw. And there's the sign, so it's going to be Ron Taylor coming in now. As Bennett is out of the ball game. Bennett has gone a third of an inning. Charged with 2 runs on 3 hits. Struck out none and walked none. And Ron Taylor comes in to make his 30th appearance of this season. He has won 2 and lost 2. He was in action yesterday in the first game for a third of an inning, allowed no runs, no hits, just batted in and retired 1 batter to stop a rally. And now to check us up on scores of other games, here's Ralph Kiner.
Well, the St. Louis Cardinals continued their winning ways as they defeated the Chicago Cubs 9-2. The winning pitcher was Washburn. His record now 7-4. Rich Nye, losing pitcher at 9-7. Cepeda home run, his 18th in the 6th with a man on. Lou Brock, his 14th in the 8th with 2 men on base. San Francisco Giants defeated the Pittsburgh Pirates by a score of 8-4. Winning pitcher was McCormick. The losing pitcher was Pizarro. Van Dennen and Hyatt had home runs in the ball game. Hyatt got his with the bases loaded in the 8th inning to win the ball game for the Giants. Philadelphia playing against the Dodgers at night. At the end of 4, Atlanta 3, Cincinnati 1. Phil Niekro pitching for the Atlanta Braves and Mel Queen going for the Cincinnati Reds. In the American League, New York Yankees playing at home but losing to Kansas City by an 8-6 margin. Pierce, the winning pitcher in relief. Tillotson, the losing pitcher in relief. Lindblad, a home run in the 7th with no one on. He was the starting pitcher. Whitaker, a home run in the 8th with a man on for the Yankees. And Smith, a home run in the 8th for the Yankees with no one on. Boston beat Minnesota 4-0. The winning pitcher was Lee Stang. He pitched a 3-hitter. Losing pitcher was Boswell. Yastrzemski got a home run with 2 men on in the 3rd. His 26th this year. After 5.5 innings, the White Sox at Cleveland and the Indians in front by a 2-1 score. McMahon now pitching for Chicago and Tion going for the Indians. Vern Fuller, a home run in the 3rd with no one on.
All right, Ralph Kiner, right here it is the Astros 2 and the Mets 2, with the Astros batting in the bottom half of the 1st inning. There's 1 man out. Rusty Taub is the runner at first, and the count of out for money at the plate is 2-0. Ron Taylor takes the sign. He's up and set now. And here is the pitch. In there for a call strike. It's 2-1. Waiting on deck, Doug Rader for the Astros. Taylor bends forward to take a sign. Played here with the Houston Astros last season. He's up and set. 2-1 delivery. Swung on it on the ground at second. Taken there by a left. And over to Harrison. 1. And on to Cranepool, a double play. So quickly, Ron Taylor comes in to put out the fire with a double play ball hit by Aspromonte. Limp to Harrelson to Cranepool. Side is out with 2 runs on 3 hits. No errors and none left. Score at the end of an inning is the Mets 2 and the Astros 2. And once again, here's Ralph.
Tuesday night, August 22nd, has been designated as Country Music Night at Shea Stadium when the Mets will be meeting the Philadelphia Phillies in a twilight doubleheader. Between games, the Twinville, the Mets, in conjunction with radio station WJRZ, have scheduled a highly entertaining program which will feature the outstanding Columbia recording artist Ray Price and his talented group. It should be a fun-filled evening for young and old alike, so try and remember the date. Tuesday, August 22nd, Country Music Night at Shea Stadium. The Mets and Phillies in a twilight Twinville.
All right, Ralph, before we go to the top of the second, we're going to step out for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
This is the new bright sound in radio. WGY 810 on your dial in Schenectady, New York.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Ralph Kiner and Bob Murphy at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. It's going to be Phil Limbs coming up now for the Mets. He's hitting 186. He has 1 homer and 6 runs batted in. Facing left-hander Bo Belinsky. Jerry Buchek, the regular Mets second baseman, is still out with a pulled calf muscle sustained in San Francisco at the start of this road trip. Buchek took batting practice before tonight's game. Most of Texas is in the midst of a very hot streak weather-wise. Wichita Falls today, the temperature reached 108. It was over 100 in Dallas today. 104 in Fort Worth. Now the pitch to the right-hand batter, and it's in there for a called strike. And the temperature reached 95 here at Houston, which makes most baseball fans thankful that there is indeed an Astrodome in Houston, Texas, where baseball is played indoors in air-conditioned comfort. Here's a breaking pitch high. It's 1-1. Ron Taylor is swinging bats on deck. First inning, Belinsky struck out 2 and walked 2. Here's a swing and a miss. It's 1-2. Bo Belinsky became nationally famous during his tenure with the California Angels. He pitched a no-hitter, which got him the attention of the baseball world, and he regularly dated Mamie Van Doren, which got him the attention of the rest of the world. Here's a pitch in front of the plate, and it bounds on by. Catcher Johnny Bateman all the way back, and the count goes 2-2 to Phil Lenz.
Phone call for Joe Hammer.
Belinsky lists his permanent home as Hollywood, California. Here's a 2-2 delivery. Swung on and lined into the glove of Aspromonte at third for the out. Phil Lenz got around on it, but lined it to Astro at third. One away, and Ron Taylor's coming up. Say, look for the Rheingold Chug-a-Mug special display at your local stores in New York and New Jersey. The Chug-a-Mug looks and sounds just like what it is, a good thirst-quenching drink of beer. 12 ounces of Rheingold Extra Dry, and you can drink it right from the mug. Taylor's a right-hand batter. Swings and misses. He is nothing for 4 this season. Nobody on base. Score tied, 2-2. Strike one pitch, swung on and missed. Nothing in 2. Tomorrow night, Don Cardwell will pitch for the Mets, and Dave Justy for the Astros will be on the air at 8:55 p.m. New York time. Curveball misses everything. Over the head of Bateman and on back up against the screen. Count goes to 1-2. I tell you, more pitches have hit the screen tonight than have hit the catcher's glove. Bud Harrelson's waiting on deck. 1-2 delivery. Swung on and missed. The third strikeout. Credit to Belinsky as he got Taylor swinging. 2 away, and Bud Harrelson's coming up. He walked and scored in the first inning. Batting right against the left-hander. Now the pitch. And it's high for a ball. 1-0. We'll be broadcasting and televising from the Astrodome here on Wednesday night, 8:55 p.m. New York time. Then the Mets will be back at Shea Stadium on Friday night against the San Francisco Giants. Here's a 1-0 pitch. It's inside. Low. Comes all the way back to the screen. Hit in the dirt and bounded over the glove of Bateman. 2-0. Belinsky turns his back to the plate, pops the ball into his glove a time or two. Now comes down on the forward side of the mound where he's been striding to smooth out the mound there. And offers 2-0. The pitch is high. He goes behind to Harrelson, 3-0 with Cleon Jones waiting on deck. The 3-0 delivery. Low. It's a walk to Harrelson. Second time he's drawn a walk tonight, and the third walk has been issued by Belinsky. That is the 29th base on balls that Harrelson has drawn this year. He leads the Mets in that department. It's an all-important department, especially in the case of a man like Harrelson, because he puts good speed on the bases. Two-way, and Cleon Jones is coming up. He smashed the ground ball down past Aspromonte. In the first inning, it was scored as an error on Aspromonte, although it looked from our vantage point as though it took a bad hop. Aspromonte had bent down to play the short hop and suddenly flinched away from it, indicating that it certainly did not follow the trajectory he had thought it would. The official scorer charged error. Pitch is high for a ball. It's 1-0. In many minor league cities, it is accepted practice for the scorer to favor the home team. The practice has been going on for these many years. This will be a 1-0 pitch. Swung on it on the ground to short. Taken there by Lillis and played over to Morgan for the force that retires the strike. No runs, no hit, nor a walk, and one left. And the score in the middle of the second is the Mets 2 and the Astros 2.
You know, when you're a pro, you're a pro. Either you have it or you don't. Like sometimes a rookie comes along. He looks so good, everyone thinks the guy may be another Ty Cobb. He runs like him. He walks and hits like him. In fact, everyone's sure it's a Georgia Peach reincarnated. But then, 2 weeks after the season begins, or 3, someone on the other team spots that the guy can't hit a curve, and that's it. He's through. 2 weeks later, you mention the rookie's name, and the fans don't even remember him. You've really got to have it to make it, especially in a tough town like New York. New York's rough. You know, there are 302 brands of beer in the city. 302. That's a lot of brands competing with each other. And you know the beer that's made it to the top? Rheingold. How come? It's the beer itself, the way it tastes, that rich, dry lager. Rheingold tastes good day after day. That's what a real pro is. Consistent.
In the bottom of the second now, it is Doug Rader coming up for his first time. He's just been recalled from Oklahoma City, 23 years of age yesterday. Right-hand batter, called the Red Rooster because of his red hair. Ron Taylor deals a pitch. It's in for a called strike. Rader is a native of Illinois, and the Astros are very high on the future prospects of this young fellow. Pitch is outside. It's 1-1. Chuck Harrison was sent to Oklahoma City, sustained a broken thumb yesterday, and they could not put him on the disabled list because they had Ron Brand and Sonny Jackson on the disabled list already. The 1-1 delivery. Swung on and hit on the ground toward third. Charged by Charles, and he throws it on, and he's a base hit. Not in time to get Rader. That ball took an unexpected hop off the astroturf that Charles had to reach way up for, and as a result, his throw was a little high over to the turn, although Rader beat it for a base hit. So his first time up in the major league, Doug Rader beats out an infield bouncer. It leads off the bottom of the second and brings up catcher Johnny Bateman. To complete the thought we had started a moment ago, we were saying that in minor league cities it was an accepted practice for the scorer to be pro-home team. Here in Houston, it's a practice that has carried over during the major league years here. Had nothing to do with the scoring on that particular play. That was a base hit. Throw over to first, not in time.
Benji, that goes back to an old powder baseball when they owned their own players in the minor league cities, and they wanted to have a very respectable batting average to show so they could sell that ball player for more money.
All right, here's the pitch. And it's in for a call strike.
Well, I figured the reason for that was we didn't own any players. San Francisco did it very much so in the past when they had fellows like Paul Wainer, Lloyd Wainer, and Joe DiMaggio.
Here's the throw. You mean with a little help on a hit here now, instead of hitting 390, they hit 410.
Hit 410, that's right.
Rader leads at first. And he goes. Here's a swinging ground ball to the right side. It's going to go through for a base hit. On the way to third is Doug Rader. And he is on the third. He's held up there as Swoboda whips the ball into Cranepool. The Astros executed the hit and run with Rader off and moving on the pitch. Bill Limb went to second to cover the bag. The ball was not hit hard, but it dribbled through for a base hit. So quickly the Astros have runners at first and third with nobody out in the bottom of the second, and Bob Lillis is coming up. He bats number 8 in the order, hitting .259, 4 runs batted in. He's a right-hand batter. The score is tied 2-2. The Mets got 2 in the top of the first, and the Astros got them back in the bottom of the first. Mets set the infield double play depth. Ball is bunted up into the air. A clean fool at first. No other play. So trying to bunt the ball up the first base line, Lillis instead pops out the crane pool in fair territory. One away. Runners holding first and third. Pitcher Bo Belinsky is the batter. Hitting .120. He's been up 25 times and had 3 hits. He's batted in 1 run. He is a left-hand batter. Net catcher Greg Koosman calls time and goes to the mound for a word with Ron Taylor. Ron Taylor bends forward to take the sign. Now he's set. And the pitch. Hit on the ground to first. Cranepool is going home, and at the plate, he is out. A little scramble for a moment between catcher Greg Koosman and baseman Doug Rader. Rader made his slide and did not get to the plate. Veered off to one side, and Koosman had not tagged him either at that point. So umpire Shag Crawford waited until Koosman tagged him a second time, or tagged at him a second time, and then made the out call. So the play goes 3-2 if you're scoring. Moving up to second base is John Bateman. And on at first now, on the field his choice is Belinsky with 2 men out. Runners at first and second, 2 away, and Ron Davis is up. He led off with a home run in the bottom half of the first inning. Now Shag Crawford calls time as he observes that Bo Belinsky does not have the haberdashery properly outfitted as yet. He is buttoning up the jacket. Belinsky was known and was proud of his reputation as a nightlife aficionado in his days in Los Angeles and Hollywood and Beverly Hills. Then when he was farmed out, to quieten him down, they sent him of all places to Honolulu. Here is a pitch hit on the ground. A broken back ground ball is second. Taken by Lynch. He bobbles it and now goes over and tags the bag. Bill Lynch bobbled the ball, picked it up, thought perhaps he'd have no chance at a fourth, and was ready to try to throw it first, where he really would have had no play, and noted that Belinsky was not running. Belinsky was jogging down to second, and the fans are expressing a little displeasure with him, so Lynch picked the ball up then and kicked the bag. The Astros. No runs. 2 hits. No errors and 2 left. And at the end of 2 full innings, the score is the Mets 2, the Astros 2.
This problem. And they've developed a very simple formula. If your car is 2 years old, have the battery tested regularly. The few minutes it takes to have the battery tested can save you time and expense later. See your Gulf dealer for a battery test today.
We're going to the top of the third, and coming in now for the play-by-play, Bob Murphy.
All right, Lindsay, Tommy Davis will lead off against Bo Belinsky in the top of the third. One of the 2 home runs hit in the second game of yesterday's doubleheader by Jim Wynn was inside the park. 2 other inside-the-park home runs in the Astrodome since they opened the doors. One by Sonny Jackson. He's now on the disabled list. The other by Rusty Staub. Actually, the inside-the-park home run by Jim Wynn yesterday was nothing more than a line drive single to center field. The official score gave Wynn an inside the park home run. And the ball struck the shin of Tommy Reynolds and was booted about 150 feet over into left field. Tommy Davis hitting at .310. He singled home a run in the opening inning for Tommy, his 52nd run batted in. And the pitch by Belinsky is hit high in the air and foul. Over toward the dugout goes Johnny Bateman. He has no play. Ron Swoboda waiting on deck. And then Ed Charles. New York 2 runs, 1 hit and no errors. Houston 2 runs, 5 hits and 1 error. The outfield swung around the left, and the pitch by Belinsky is foul back into the screen. And the count strike 2 on Tommy Davis. Sally Hemus here watching the ball game tonight. Sally looking good as always. He was back at Shea Stadium for the big old timers event. The 2-strike delivery, a fly ball hit to right field. Staub is coming in. Morgan goes out, and Staub makes the catch. 1 out and nobody on. Tommy retired on the high fly to short right field. It brings up Ron Swoboda. Ron reached on a walk his first time up. Ron hitting .252, has 7 homers and 24 runs batted in. Check swing and a fastball outside and high, ball 1. Swing and a miss on a good fastball by Belinsky, and Ron dropped his bat. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bo Belinsky's victories this year have been over the St. Louis Cardinals and Chicago Cubs. Bo does not have a complete game to his credit. Now the left-hander out of his windup, the pitch to Ron, curve inside and low. It's 2 balls and a strike. Belinsky's last 3 outings have all been against Pittsburgh. Swing and a miss on the slider, and the count 2-2. Now the 2-2 delivery. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and Belinsky fans Ron Swoboda. One out and nobody on. The batter is Ed Charles. Ed was struck out his first time up tonight, and he lifted a pitch off the outside corner, ball 1. Bo Belinsky has now struck out 4. Now Belinsky cranks up. In comes the pitch, and a fastball is in for a called strike. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. The Astros riding a 6-game win streak, and the baseball fever is mounting here in Houston. And we have a nice Monday night crowd in the Astrodome. Astros with the infield and the outfield, a step to left. And a grounder whacked to shortstop. Up with the ball, Bobby Lillis. He plays to first in time for the out. And a 1-2-3 inning for Bo Belinsky. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. At the end of 2.5 innings, the New York Mets 2 and the Houston Astros 2.
Whether you're buying your first or 10th car, it's time you became a smart car buyer and joined the ranks of the thousands of satisfied customers who shop Armory Garage, Central at Colvin and Albany. Now, here are the 3 basic rules for the smart car buyer. Select the model you want. Then, 1, compare quality. Armory Garage boasts the largest selection of quality-tested late-model used cars in the area. 2, compare service. Armory's expert mechanics are qualified to service all the cars on the Armory lot. And 3, compare price. Armory's tremendous volume assures you more for your car buying dollar. Be a wise car buyer. Drive into Armory Garage and talk over your used car needs with the sales manager, Art Neat. Let him introduce you to Armory's easy terms. You can buy, sign, and pay at Armory, home of 101 time payment plans. Your credit is wealth at Armory. Follow the wise car buyer to Armory Garage, Central at Colvin in Albany.
Last of the third inning, Ron Taylor is pitching in relief. In all 3 games in this series in the Astrodome, the first inning has been a difficult inning for the New York Mets. The doubleheader yesterday, the Astros scored 5 in the first inning of the opening game. They got 3 in the opening inning of the nightcap and 2 in the first inning here tonight. The fastball outside to Joe Morgan, ball 1. Morgan, hitting .296, doubled to right center field and later scored in the first inning. Left-hand hitter with good running speed. Let's play him around toward right. Ed Charles in a stride, wide of the line at third. Bud Harrelson shaded toward second. Phil Lenz about a stride from the edge of the AstroTurf. Inside and high is ball 2, 2 balls and no strikes. Center fielder Jim Wynn, who leads the majors and runs batted in, waiting on deck. And the major league leader in batting, Rusty Staub, to follow. Now the 2-0 delivery, and a foul ball cracked back up toward the crowd, out of play. Night games here in the Astrodome tomorrow night and Wednesday night. The Mets return to New York following the Wednesday night game and play Willie Mays and the Giants Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon at Shea Stadium. Then the Pirates, the Atlanta Braves, and then the Pirates coming to Shea. And a good pitch by Ron Taylor on the outside corner, 2-2. Ron getting a very early call in the game tonight when Dennis Bennett ran into trouble. Ron Taylor generally is used much later in the ballgame. Pitching 2-2. Inside the high, ball 3. And the string is out, 3-2. Nellie Fox coaching at first, Jim Busby coaching at third. The Astros changed pitching coaches in the middle of the year. Their new pitching coach is Jim Owens. He replaced Gordon Jones. 3-2 delivery, hit hard in the air to left. Tommy Davis coming in, he's there, makes the catch, and Morgan is out. Ball hit on a line, and Tommy came right straight in to grab it. Throw one away, nobody on. Center fielder Jimmy Wynn coming up. He drove in a run with a ground ball to shortstop. He was thrown out of the opening inning. He was his 84th run batted in. With his big day yesterday, he opened up a fairly wide lead over his nearest challenger in RBIs. Inside the high, it's ball 1. Some of the writers refer to Jimmy Wynn as the toy cannon because of his amazing power. He's only 5'9" and weighs about 165 pounds. Right-hand batter, a native of Cincinnati, Ohio. He originally signed with the Reds. He was taken in the first-year player draft by Houston from the Cincinnati organization when they failed to protect him on their 40-man roster. Jimmy Wynn now has 84 runs batted in. The Cardinals' Orlando Cepeda picked up 2 RBIs at least in the Cardinals' 9-2 win today. He might have had more. So now he has at least 78. And it's a strike on the inside corner. St. Louis now has opened up a 4.5 game lead in the National League. The Cardinals beat Chicago 9-2. Ray Washburn won his 7th, and Rich Nye was the loser. He's now 9-7. Lou Brock hit a 3-run homer for the Cardinals. in a long spell between home runs for Brock. And the fastball is in for a call strike. Brock had a great start. Now Ron Taylor into his windup. The 1-2 delivery. A swing and a miss by Jimmy Wynn. He struck him out. Real good-looking breaking ball by Ron Taylor. 2 men away. Last of the third inning, nobody on. Game tied 2-2. It brings up Rusty Staub. First strikeout for Ron Taylor, who's on in relief. San Francisco Giants with 4 in the 8th inning beat Pittsburgh 8-4. Mike McCormick winning his 14th game. Good pitch on the inside corner, a call strike. That ties McCormick with the Red Sox Jim Lonborg for the top number of victories. Juan Bizarro was the loser. And in the 8th inning, Jack Hyatt hit a grand slam for the 4 runs for San Francisco. The time he hit it, the game was tied 4-4. Inside and high, 1 ball, 1 strike to Rusty Staub. Braves 5 and the Reds 1 at the end of 5. Knuckleballer Phil Necro against Mel Queen, 10-5. And a 2-run homer by Clete Boyer. What a year Clete is having. The 1-1 pitch to Staub. A fly ball hit in the air to left field. Tommy Davis just walks in his stride and puts it away for the out. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left on. At the end of 3 here in the Astrodome, the New York Mets 2 and the Houston Astros 2. Well, last year and again this year, one of the most popular events to be held at Shea Stadium during the course of the season, and it's a number of events. It's actually a series of meetings. A series of meetings with the ball players of the New York Mets for those who are a member of the Met Fan Club. So we have some up-and-coming Met Fan Club dates, and Ralph will fill you right in.
Well, with Ron Taylor going here, he'll have his day on September the 6th. Ron has had a rather interesting background. He has come from Canada, and he has had a lot of trouble with his back. And this year, in the early part of the year, he was out for some time with that bad back, and since coming back, he has done well. And you can talk all about pitching and relief pitching with Ron Taylor on September the 6th. Other dates, Don Cardwell, August the 4th, Ed Charles, August the 8th, August the 10th, Phil Lynn. Learn about the wrestling business from Phil on the 10th. August 23rd, John Sullivan. August 25th, Don Shaw. September 9th, Bob Henley. September 10th, Hal Renniff. September 18th, Dick Summer. September 19th, Larry Stahl. And September 20th, Dennis Bennett. You can get your tickets to the Met Fan Club room by writing Met Fan Club, Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York. Zip code is 11368. And don't forget, even though you may have tickets to the Met Fan Club room, you still have to have tickets for that day and for that day's ball game. Right now, we'll pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
Your dial is set at the new bright sound in radio. WGY 810 on your dial in Schenectady, New York.
Ralph Kiner along with Lindsey Nelson, and now Bob Murphy for the play-by-play.
Greg Gilson leading off as we go to the 4th inning, and he fouls the breaking pitch across the AstroTurf back toward the dugout, out of play. Next pitch on the way, and Greg has to jump to get out of the way. Walensky missing way inside and low. 1 ball, 1 strike. No point in telling you about the hot weather in Houston because it's been just as hot on the east. And besides, you don't mind here with air-conditioned baseball. The 1-1 delivery, a strike on the outside corner. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. It's amazing the thousands and thousands of people that drive hundreds of miles to take the tourist trip of the Astrodome. A smash to third, picked up by Aspromonte on the first out. He pegs to Doug Rader for the out. Spec Richardson was saying yesterday that already 1,300,000 people have taken the $1 guided tour of the Astrodome. One out and nobody on. Eddie Cranepool coming up. Koosman hit the ball sharply, but he hit it right at the feet of Bob Aspermani. Eddie Cranepool 0 for 1. He skied to left his initial time at bat. Eddie's batting average is .286. Left-hander against left-hander. And it's low and outside, ball 1. The Mets 2 and the Astros 2 here in the 4th inning. Walensky delivers an overhand fastball low. Ball 2, it's 2-0 on Ed Cranepool. The Mets have only one hit, and that was a run-scoring hit by Tommy Davis in the 1st inning. Their second run crossed the plate on a wild pitch by Walensky. Now Eddie is taking all the way, and the pitch is over for a call strike, 2-1. Orlando Cepeda had 3 RBIs, and the Cardinals' 9-2 win over the Cubs today. Lou Brock drove in 4. Kurt Flood is back in action. He had 4 for 5. Ground ball hit down to first. Duck Rader up with it. Steps on first, 2 down. Interesting thing about the Cardinals, Ralph, they're rolling right along. They're in the best shape right now they've been in all year long. They've been moving ahead even though they've been without their ace pitcher, Bob Gibson.
They certainly have. They have covered up that loss, and when Gibson gets back, that'll be a big boost for them if he can pitch like he would normally be able to pitch.
They have Bob Gibson and Kurt Flood both on the sideline. Flood, one of the top ball hawks in the game today, is now back in action. And he's a top hit maker. He's usually around 200 hits every year. Bill Lenz is the hitter, and he takes the pitch by Walensky, ball 1. Bill lined out the third baseman, Bob Aspermani, his first time up. Ground ball hit down to Aspermani. He's up with it. Throws from the edge of the carpet. In time, and the side is out. And Walensky moving right along now. Bill has now retired 7 consecutive batters. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left. And at the end of 3.5, the New York Mets 2 and the Houston Astros 2. Now here's a word from Reingold.
There's a guy in New York who has a ball. It's made of iron and it weighs 2 tons. He bounces it against buildings, and the walls come tumbling down.
Well, I'm what they call a ball man. There are just actually 50 of us around, and 5 really good ones. I mean experts. Well, you see those 3 walls there? I can knock all 3 of them off with one swing, and still put the ball down on a post instead. You know, last was it about 3 weeks ago? I got a call. The guy needed me on a Monday, and I had a job. So, I mean, it's kind of flattering. The guy held up the construction for a week until I was available.
If you're going to throw your weight around in New York, you really got to know what you're doing. Same thing's true of beer. There are 302 beers trying to make it in New York today from all over. But only one beer has made it to the top. The rich, dry lager, Rheingold. Rheingold. In this town, either you have it or you don't.
Last half of the 4th inning, Bob Aspermani. Rookie Doug Rader and catcher John Bateman will be the 3 hitters coming up against Ron Taylor. Kurt Flood, the Cardinals' brilliant center fielder, came back into the action over the weekend in a series against Atlanta. Kurt had an injured shoulder after crashing into a fence. He'd been out about a month. Here's the pitch on the way. A call strike on the outside corner. The Cardinals are 4.5 games out, and they're in great shape in the loss column. A little bit early in the year to be talking much about the loss column, but nonetheless it takes on added importance with each passing day. For example, 3rd place Cincinnati. Swing and a miss by Aspermani. The Reds are playing tonight, and right now they are 9 games behind the Cardinals in the loss column. The Atlanta Braves are 7 games back in the loss column. The Giants and Pirates, the Giants are 10 games back, and the Pirates 11 games back in the loss column. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now Ron Taylor getting his sign from Greg Goosman. The pitch to Aspermani is hit down the right field line. It may drop in. Base hit just inside the line. It's rolling down into the right field corner. As for money, around second will stop there with a double. Ball was placed about a foot inside the line and went down into the corner, 340 feet out. As for money, can still not go 100% on the bases. He has been out of a hamstring muscle pull and just recently returned to the lineup. Now Doug Rader is coming up. For Doug, this is his third year in pro ball. He was outstanding last year, his second year in pro ball, and got a real good look by the Astros during spring training. He's actually a third baseman by trade. Doug being used at first base tonight. And he got a base hit his first major league time at bat. An infield hit. His nickname is the Red Rooster, and the first time up, he stretched one out. Here's the pitch by Ron Taylor. It's inside, ball one. Doug Rader, right-hand batter. He has good size, 6'2". Weighs about 95. Nobody out. As for money on second, the game tied 2-2. And the pitch by Ron Taylor, a swing and a miss by Doug Rader. 1 ball, 1 strike. Doug Rader was brought up today when it was learned that Chuck Harrison suffered a fractured thumb in yesterday's twin bill. And a towering pop-up down the first baseline. Hope he doesn't lose this one in the webbing. Crane pulled under it, makes the catch just inside the line in fair territory. This webbing is no problem at night, but had that ball, Ralph, been hit yesterday afternoon, it would have been quite an adventure, don't you think?
It's always an adventure on a fly ball here in the daytime. We were talking with Doug Harvey and the umpiring crew that's here tonight, and they said that they didn't believe that you could ever play a successful game here in the daytime the way it's set up right now. You just have to lose some fly balls in the high ceiling here where the light filters through the opaque glass.
You can stand alongside one of the coaches in the pregame drills when they hit fungos and just stand there and try to follow the ball, and it's almost impossible in the afternoon when the sun is shining through. Here's the pitch on the way. Swing and a miss by Johnny Bateman, strike one. Seems to be worse this year than it was last, which may indicate nothing more is needed than another paint job.
You can go broke painting that glass up there, though, Bob.
I can go broke riding a bicycle to the corner. What are you talking about?
You have to pay somebody to pump it?
I need new tires. Now the pitch on the way. Foul ball back into the screen. What do you suppose they'd pay you and I to crawl up there and paint that for them?
There's not enough money.
You don't like those high altitudes, huh?
No.
You fighter pilots are all alike.
I want something under there with a motor that's going through, pulling through the air. I don't want to be up there depending on myself flying.
Your broadcasting partner went up there.
And he will be the last to go up there, too. That's going to be a record.
He rode up in the gondola. The engineer walked up on the catwalk. 2-strike delivery, and Bateman was fooled that he held up in time. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I think the funniest thing of all, when Lindsay went the 208 feet to the top of the Astrodome in a gondola to broadcast, after they got up there, they realized the microphones were there and ready to go, and realized somebody had to put them there. Well, the engineer had walked up there on the catwalk.
He also had to go back up and get him.
Here's the 1-2 delivery, and a ground ball hit hard toward the middle, knocked down by Lenz, who stumbles, throws to first in time. Bateman is out. Aspermani moving over to third. Now there are 2 away, a runner on third. Game tied 2-2 in the 4th inning. And the veteran shortstop, Bobby Lillis, is coming up. Bobby hitting at .255. Houston 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. New York 2 runs, 1 hit, no errors. Ron Taylor is pitching in relief of Dennis Bennett. Dennis was knocked out in the 1st inning by the Astros, and Ron came in. Now Ed Charles, even with the bag, wide of the line at third. Lillis, a right-hand batter, but he's always a bunt threat. And a line drive in the air to right. Kubota racing in. Can't get it. It's a base hit and a run scored. Ball hit Ron's chance to bounce directly back toward the infield. So Lillis punches a soft line drive in the short right to break the tie. There's the first run off Ron Taylor, and the Astros now go in front 3-2. Lillis, using that big bat, just punched the ball easily into right field for a hit. That is the first run scored off Ron Taylor in 14 2/3 innings. His relief work has been superb. Mets relief pitching has been good. The starting pitching has been faltering. Fastball outside and the high, ball one. In both games yesterday, the starting pitcher got off to a bad start. After the starters left the game, the relief corps did a good job, but it was too late. Eddie Cranepool holding against Bobby Lillis at first, 2 men away. Lillis punched a 2-out single to right to break the tie. Polinsky is the batter, and the pitch is hit high in the air to center field. Cleon Jones comes in, Harrelson goes out, and Buddy Harrelson takes it for the out. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, 1 left. At the end of 4, the Houston Astros 3 and the New York Mets 2.
Armory Garage is one of those companies that never stops trying to improve their business. They're proving that fact every day at the corner of Central and Colvin in Albany. Instead of sitting back smugly, knowing Armory Garage is the biggest volume dealer of used cars in the area, sales manager Art Neat tries to improve sales and service daily. For example, at Armory, you'll find easier credit. If you have the ability to pay, they'll say okay and set up a time payment plan custom tailored to your budget. Because of the tremendous volume of new cars sold weekly at Armory Garage, the selection of used cars is unrivaled. You'll find wagons, convertibles, 2- and 4-door sedans, from economy models to prestige automobiles, priced to move. And to keep that car on the move in top condition, Armory mechanics are trained to service all makes and models sold on the Armory lot. For the very best car buy, try Armory Garage first. They're located at Central at Colvin in Albany, open daily, including all day Saturday.
Ron Taylor will lead off against Bo Belinsky as we go to the 5th inning. It will be Ron's second time at bat. Belinsky struck him out his first trip. Ron will be followed by Bud Harrelson and then Cleon Jones. Mets are home Friday night at Shea playing the Giants. Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. Juan Marichal back in action. Went all the way, pitching a 7-hitter his last time out. The Giants won this afternoon with 4 runs in the 8th inning on a grand slam by Jack Hyatt. So the Giants this coming weekend at Shea Stadium. And after the Giants leave town, the Atlanta Braves will be in for a Tuesday night game on the 8th and a Wednesday afternoon game on the 9th of August. Pittsburgh for a long weekend series. Outside the highest, ball 1. The Pirates will play Thursday night, August 10th, Friday night, August 11th, Saturday afternoon the 12th, and a big Sunday doubleheader on August 13th. And Belinsky's fastball gets the inside corner, a strike 1-1. The Pirates now being guided by Danny Murtaugh, who led them to the National League pennant. And a swing and a miss by Ron Taylor, 1 ball and 2 strikes. They go to the 8th inning at Cincinnati with the Atlanta Braves leading Cincinnati 5-1. Phil Necro pitching for Atlanta and Mel Queen for Cincinnati. 2-run homer in the game by Clete Boyer. Inside and low, it's 2-2. Later tonight, the Phillies and the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. And those Dodgers are playing their best ball of the year right now. They've won 10 of their last 12 ball games. The 2-2 delivery is fouled off to the right, beyond the dugout, and into the field box area. Well, the center fielder, Kurt Flood, back in the lineup for the Cardinals and getting 4 for 5, and Lou Brock driving 4 runs in, and Orlando Cepeda driving in 3. The Cardinals had a big day. A swing and a miss by Ron Taylor, 1 man down. Cardinals beat the Cubs 9-2. They now lead by 4.5. Kansas City beat the Yankees 8-6 in the stadium with Tony Pierce getting the win in relief. He came on in the 9th. Thad Tillotson was the loser. He came on in the 8th inning. Paul Lindblad, Steve Whitaker, and Charlie Smith had home runs. Bud Harrelson is up, and Belinsky picks off the inside corner for a call strike. The Red Sox got untracked on a 3-hit shutout by Lee Stang. They beat Minnesota 4-0. Swing and a miss by Bud, strike 2. Carl Yastrzemski hit a 3-run homer in the Red Sox victory, and Carl now has 26 home runs. Best year by far and away for Carl Yastrzemski. And a wild pitch goes all the way to the backstop. Not officially, with nobody on. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Bud Harrelson. Carl Yastrzemski, with his 3-run homer this afternoon at Fenway Park, moved into a tie with Minnesota's Harmon Killebrew with 75 runs batted in. The 1-2 delivery by Belinsky. Ground ball hit slowly down to third. Aspromani hurries the peg in time to get Harrelson by running stride. And Bo Belinsky has now retired 9 straight hitters. Tonight, Cleveland leads Chicago 2-1 at the end of 7.5. Luis Tiant is pitching for Cleveland. Fred Clay just started for the White Sox. Don McMahon in the 3rd, and Old Sarge, Lloyd Wilhelm in the 7th. The Red Sox will be hoping that Cleveland holds on to that lead so they can cut into the White Sox lead. 2 outs, nobody on. Cleon Jones, the batter. And it's inside and low, ball 1. Houston 3, the Mets 2. We're in the top of the 5th inning. If the Indians defeat the White Sox, the Red Sox would be 1 game out. Fastball outside and high, ball 2. It's 2-0. It's down to the dirt. All 3-0. Now Burrow's 3-0 pitch. Right in there for a strike to Cleon. He was taking all the way, and the count is 3-1. Former catcher Wes Westrom keeping Greg Goosen alongside in the Mets dugout and talking with him as the Mets bat here in the top of the 5th inning. Grounder hit hard. A big hop for Bob Aspromani. He strides, pegs to Rader, and the Mets are down 1-2-3. And Belinsky has retired 10 straight. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. We've come halfway. At the end of 4.5 to score, the Astros 3 and the Mets 2.
The Big Tire. The Big Tire.
The Big Tire. The Gulf Deluxe Crown.
Big Tire. Big Tire.
Big in safety because the Gulf Deluxe Crown has 4 full plies of nylon cord.
The Big Tire. Big Tire.
Big in mileage because of its extra thick, long-wearing tread.
Big Tire.
Big in value because the Gulf Deluxe Crown gives you so much mileage at so little cost. The Big Tire is at your Gulf dealers now. The tire center in your neighborhood where your driving takes a turn for the best.
In the last of inning number 5, Ron Davis leads off against Ron Taylor and looks for the pitch low and away, ball 1. Ron Davis led off the Houston first inning with a tremendous home run to deep left center. His 5th home run of the year. Now the pitch to him. Foul ball hit down the right field line, no play. At the time Ron Davis homered, New York had taken a 2-0 lead in the top half of the first. Behind the home run by Ron Davis, Joe Morgan doubled to right center, stole third, and came in as Jimmy Wynn grounded out to tie the game. It is fouled off to the right, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Ron Taylor has gone 14 straight innings.
Ron Taylor, as we mentioned earlier, is normally used as a short man in the bullpen. The longest stretch he has worked this year has been 4 innings. The pitch taken outside, ball 1. He worked 4 innings way back on June 16th against Chicago. At San Francisco on this road trip, he had a 3 2/3 inning relief stint. But he was brought in the first inning of this game tonight. The Torontonians' pitch is hit foul down the third base line, taken by Jim Busby. So right at this moment, Ron Taylor has worked 4 innings, matching his previous longest stint of the year. Now Ron's 2-2 delivery to Ron Davis. A fly ball hit in the air to left center field. Leon Jones walks the stride, taps the glove, and makes the catch for the out. One out and nobody on. Now Joe Morgan, the second baseman, coming up. He doubled to right center, stole third, and came in as Wynn grounded out with a tying run in the second inning. Morgan is hitting .295. His second time up, facing Ron Taylor, he hit the ball hard and lined out to Tommy Davis. Off-speed pitch this inside. 1 ball, no strike. Here's the pitch on the way. Fastball over the inside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Night game tomorrow night, a night game Wednesday night here in the Astrodome, then back to Shea at the Giants on Friday night. Don Cardwell against Dave Justy tomorrow night, and in the wrap-up game on Wednesday night, Bob Henley and Mike Cuellar. Lined hard in the air to right. Kubota got up again. He'll have to play it on the hop. It's a base hit. Morgan around first will hold there as Kubota gets the ball back in, and his throw coming in took a nasty hop and hit Bud Harrelson on the left shoulder. And Bud shakes it off and goes right back to his fielding position. Long, hard hit swing to the right by Joe Morgan, and it brings up Jimmy Wynn. Total of 5 hits off Ron Taylor since he replaced starting pitcher Dennis Bennett. Jimmy Wynn bounced out, driving in a run in the first inning, his 84th run batted in. The Cardinals' Orlando Cepeda has 79 now. Now Morgan, a speedster, leading off first base, draws the throw and scampers back. 1 out and 1 on. The Mets have the infield playing Wynn as a pull hitter, and they're set up looking for 2. The outfield rather deep and found around the left. And another throw to first by Ron Taylor. Greg Koosman working behind the plate. Greg, just 21 years old, and the opposition shows more of a willingness to run when he's behind the plate than when Jerry Grody works behind the plate. Fouled off. Wynn swung so hard at that pitch, he wound up on one knee. Craneville holding against Joe Morgan, the runner on first. Now Ron Taylor again fires over to first base. Ron convinced the Astros might have a play on him. He's really working on Joe Morgan. When right-hand batter bends slightly from the waist. An overly closed batting stance. And a fly ball hit deep to center, but it's playable for Cleon Jones. He's under it, and he makes the catch. 2 men away. Morgan holding at first. It brings up Rusty Staub. And the freckle-faced redhead from New Orleans has been a real blockbuster in baseball this year. He demonstrated last year that he was ready to take his place among the top hitters in the National League. And this year, he's leading the major leagues in batting, hitting .364. Tonight, Rusty has singled to right and flied to left, 1 for 2. He has 124 base hits. He hits the ball from foul line to foul line. A pitch out, nothing was on. Rusty has power, but he's not one of the big long ball hitters. He helps himself a great deal by using the whole playing area to collect base hits, from the left field line to the right field line. Mets are playing him as a slight pull hitter, and rather deep in the outfield. In comes the pitch to Staub, and it's in for a called strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Veteran arbiter Shag Crawford working behind the plate. Chris Pellicudis, Doug Harvey, and John Kibler on the bases. Houston 3, New York 2. We're in the last half of the 5th inning. The Astros have out-hit the Mets 8-1. They lead by 1 run. There goes the runner, a pitch out. Now the pig by Goosen. High throw, stolen base. Joe Morgan, 2 for 2 tonight. He stole third base in the first inning. For Joe Morgan, his 11th stolen base of the year. Now first base is open as a result of the stolen base, and let's see how they elect to do it with Rusty Staub. Now they're going to put him on. Right-hander Ron Taylor is the pitcher, so Staub will be intentionally walked. And they'll pitch the Bob Astronaut. The electronic message board out in center field says chicken. Right here we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
The new bright sound in radio. This is WGY 810 on your dial in Schenectady, New York.
Bob Murphy with Ralph Kiner and Lindsey Nelson were at the Astrodome in Houston. Houston 3, New York 2, bottom half of the 5th inning. Intentional walk to Rusty Staub. He now changes his shoe. Runners on first and second, 2 down, and Bob Aspromonte coming up. Big crowd here at the Astrodome got quite a kick out of the fact that they flashed the word chicken on the message board because of the intentional walk. What they used to say when they were little kids, Ralph, sticks and stones, kind of break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Well, that's one way to keep Morgan from running, because when you take away a chance for the major league leading batter to hit, it's got to be a play that you might not pull too often if you're going to walk that man.
Fly ball hit high in the air to left by Aspromonte. Harrelson galloping out. In comes Tommy Davis, and Donnie has it. The side is up. Well, it was on this road trip in San Francisco with Jim Ray Hart waiting on deck that Willie Mays doubled down the left field line and deliberately stopped at first so the Mets would have to pitch to Hart. And Hart cracked a 3-run homer. In the 5th inning, no runs, 1 hit. No errors, 2 left on. So at the end of 5, as the ground crew comes out to manicure the diamond for the second half of the game, Houston 3 runs, 8 hits, and 1 error. New York 2 runs, 1 hit, and no errors. Well, in baseball, if you're a bench warmer, perhaps you're not too happy. But if you're a member of the bench warmers organization, chances are you're a very pretty lady. The Benchwarmers, a group of wives of the New York Mets, organized to promote charitable fundraising activities, has now completed plans for a USO of New York City benefit at Shea Stadium on Saturday, August 26th. Now, the tickets are priced at $15 each, and the ticket includes a reserved seat for the game between the Cubs and the Mets, followed by dinner and entertainment in the Diamond Club. Checks should be made payable to Benchwarmers, Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York. 11368 is the zip code. Mrs. Ed Cranepool is chairman of the event, which is being co-sponsored by the New York Mets Lady Mets Club. All profits will be turned over to the New York City USO. The capacity of the Diamond Club is 600, so be sure to send your check in right away to Benchwarmers, Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York. The zip code is 11368. The date again is Saturday, August the 26th, when the Mets will be playing the Chicago Cubs. Mets trail by a run as they come up in the sixth inning, and to follow the action for you, here's Ralph Kiner.
Okay, Bob Murphy, and hi, everyone. Tommy Davis will be the leadoff batter for the Mets. Mets have had 2 runs on 1 base hit. The base hit was by Tommy Davis in the first. It drove in the run. Mets got their other run in that same inning on a wild pitch. Since then, they have had 1 base runner. That was Bud Harrelson, who walked in the second. Bo Belinsky pitching for the Houston Astros. Astros have had 3 runs and 8 base hits off starting pitcher Dennis Bennett and relief pitcher Ron Taylor. Davis with his base hit, batting at .309. And the first pitch is hit down to second base. A 1 hopper for the second baseman Joe Morgan. The throw to first is in time for the out. So Belinsky picks up another one. And it brings up Ron Swoboda, who has walked and struck out. Belinsky has retired 11 batters in a row. And the left-hander starts off with Rod and picks up a strike over the inside corner right about knee-high. Ron batting .251, and the next pitch is a curveball that breaks over. Taken again, strike 2. Big change curve by Bo Belinsky. To start the ballgame, both Bo Belinsky and Dennis Bennett had their troubles. Bennett was knocked out. Both pitchers were extremely wild, bouncing pitches in front of the plate and up against the screen. 2 strike pitches way outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ron in the series has had 1 hit and 6 times up. This is a 5-game series, and Mets playing the 3rd game here tonight. They lost the first 2 in a doubleheader yesterday, 6-5 and 9-1. Astros leading the series this year. 1-2 pitch is grounded down in the dirt, foul. Count remains at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mets and Astros have met 9 times. The Mets have won 4, the Astros 5. Here in Houston, the Mets have yet to win a ball game, and they trailed the Astros by 3.5 games now with their doubleheader loss yesterday. And Belinsky back, and a curveball is over the inside corner, strike 3. And Swoboda struck out. 2 men away in the top of the 6th. That brings up Ed Charles. Ed was struck out his first time up and grounded out to short his second. That is the 6th strikeout for Bo Belinsky. Charles, the right-hand batter, hitting .265 with 3 home runs and 19 runs batted in. 3-2 the Astros, and the first pitch is grounded right back to Bo Belinsky. Almost throws it away as he goes over to first base. A big grouper pitch as he flipped it over. Almost threw it over the head of the first baseman, Norm Rader. But he got the play there, and that retires the side in order. And the score at the end of 5.5 innings, the Astros 3, the Mets 2.
Mets fans, imagine if you can the glorious Mets in person at Shea Stadium. Try to visualize the excitement of big league baseball. The triumphant Mets face-to-face with the Chicago Cubs. All yours absolutely free. See Tommy Davis, Yogi Berra, Wes Westrom, and the whole team. Win a pair of tickets to the Mets game coming up Saturday, August the 12th. Just send a card to Glorious Mets, WGY, Schenectady. You may win 2 free tickets to the Cubs-Mets game on Saturday, August the 12th. Our most recent Mets ticket winner was Raymond P. Stack of Scotia. Now, make it easy on yourself when you tune in all the evening and weekend Mets games here on WGY. Get a handy-dandy WGY program schedule that gives you the times, dates, and places of Mets baseball on WGY. For a WGY Mets schedule, write Mets schedule, WGY Schenectady.
Going to the bottom half of the sixth, the Astros batting. They lead 3-2. On the mound for the Mets is Ron Taylor, and the first batter he'll be pitching to will be Doug Rader, the first baseman. And the first pitch is over the outside corner, strike. Doug was brought up to the major leagues yesterday, and his first time at bat, he got a base hit to left field. He's 1 for 2 and batting .500. Rader, a right-hand batter, big, tall fella. He'll be followed by John Bateman. Ron Taylor back with a breaking ball, swung on, strike 2. Astros 3 runs, 8 hits, and that's 2 runs and 1 hit. Both sides got 2 runs in the first. The Astros took the lead with a run in the bottom half of the fourth. And the next pitch is swung on and that's strike 3. So Rader is struck out for the first time in the major leagues. He came to the Astros batting .293 at Oklahoma City in 75 ball games. That'll bring up John Bateman. That strikeout was Ron Taylor's second strikeout. He came in the ball game in the first with 1 man out. Bateman has a base hit and 2 times up. His base hit was a hit-and-run base hit that moved Rader over to third base, but he was left there. That was back in the second. First pitch by Taylor, outside a ball. Bateman batting .204. He has never stolen a base in Major League history. The 1-0 pitch is swung on, a vicious swing and a miss. Strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. I guess that statement must sound a little bit out of context because we weren't talking about stolen bases. But every time I look at John Bateman, I just sort of say he ain't going to steal any bases. The other day, though, he tried to beat out a bunt. He didn't make it. Fortunately for him, he missed the ball. Now the 1-1 pitch over. A good fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
The thing about John Bateman, Rob, not only is he slow, but he also has a fractured foot.
A broken fibula.
Watch that.
1-2 with 1 man out. We're in the bottom half of the sixth. The Mets are trailing by 1. Got to give him a lot of credit for playing with a broken bone in his foot. Pitch is outside. It's ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Both he and Bob Gibson had the same injury. Bob pitched to 3 batters after he broke his, and Bateman played 3 innings after he broke his foot. Two balls, 2 strikes. Chuck Harrison broke his finger yesterday and was out. High fly ball out to center field. Leon Jones moving back. It's way up there. And he has the play for the out. Chuck Harrison swung at a ball and it hit his hand. And they called it a strike. He did not get first base free because when you swing at a pitch, no matter what happens, if it hits you or whatever, it's a strike. It broke his thumb, and he has been put on the disabled list of a minor league ball club.
Ralph, I think that particular play is probably as deceiving to the fans in the ballpark as any play that you can have because the batter actually can hit right between the eyes of the baseball and not get to go to first base if he swung at the pitch.
That's right.
The ball is dead as a strike.
Now the pitch to the next batter, Bobby Lillis, is popped up in the shallow right field. Ron Travolta playing very shallow, makes the play for the out that retires the side in order. 1-2-3 for Ron Taylor. And the score at the end of 6, the Astros 3, the Mets 2. Now here's a word from Rheingold.
Have you noticed football news starting to find its way into the sports pages? Well, I'm sure you have. And say, is this the year the Jets take off and go all the way? Well, you've got an opportunity to get a line on this year's New York Jets.
Friday night, August the 4th,
when they meet the Boston Patriots in the AFL's preseason opener at Kennedy Stadium in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and the kickoff at 7:30 p.m. Rheingold is happy to be a co-sponsor of the game and relinquish its usual commercial time to tell you about it. The game is being played for the benefit of the Rehabilitation Center of Eastern Fairfield County. And the proceeds will do much toward broadening the fine work the center has been doing for so many years. There are still good seats left, priced at $3, $5, and $10. Available at the 33 offices of the State National Bank in the Fairfield area, and the Rehabilitation Center at 85 Park Avenue in Bridgeport. Or call for reservations in Bridgeport at 335-7351. That's 335-7351. Now, don't get shut out of the big preseason opener, the Jets against the Patriots. Friday night, August the 4th, at Kennedy Stadium in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Now back to the Mets action and Mr. Kiner.
Okay, Bob Murphy, the Mets have Hal Renniff starting to loosen up in the bullpen. Mets are down to their 6th, 7th, and 8th batters here in this inning. If they get a man on base, they'll have to go to the pitcher's position, so they're getting ready in case they need a pinch hitter. Bo Belinsky has been pitching fine ball since he settled down after the first inning. He has retired his last 13 batters, and he's getting set to pitch to Greg Koosman. In the first, he walked Bud Harrelson. Leon Jones, on a hard smash, was charged with a time at bat when an error was charged to Bob Aspromonte, and his ball went through in the left field, putting runners at first and second. Tommy Davis then singled to right field to drive in the first run of the game. Ron Swoboda, the next batter, walked to put runners on further down at first and second. Ed Charles struck out. Then a wild pitch allowed a run to come in. The Mets got their second run. Greg Koosman, and the first pitch is fouled back of home plate out of play. It's strike one. Koosman was batting on the wild pitch, and the Mets got their second run. His other time up, he lined a hard smash down to third base, and a good play by Aspromonte put him out. So Greg is 0 for 2 in the game. Koosman's batting .259. He'll be followed by Ed Kranepool and Phil Lynch. And Belinsky now back. And the next pitch is hit off the hands out toward the pitcher's mound. Belinsky right on the mound makes the sign that he'll take it, and he makes the catch for the out. That'll bring up Ed Kranepool, who also is 0 for 2. Ed now batting .285. Final score, Atlanta beat the Cincinnati Reds 5-2. The winning pitcher was Phil Niekro. He pitched a 9-hitter. Losing pitcher was Mel Queen. Cleve Boyer a home run in the 5th with one on. So the St. Louis Cardinals picking up a game on the Cincinnati Reds. There's one hit over second base. Going in back of the bag, the shortstop, Bob Lillis. He comes up with the ball, throws to first base for the out. Ball was not hit hard right off the hands, and Lillis got in back of the bag to make the play in time, took it on one hop, and threw over to first. Now with 2 men out, Phil Lynch will be the batter. Cardinals picked up a full game on Chicago. They lost today by a score of 9-2 to St. Louis. They lead them by 4.5 games. Cincinnati, in losing, dropping back to 8.5 games back. Now the first pitch to Phil Lynch. It is called a ball. Lenz is 0 for 2. And a breaking ball is down low, ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Paid attendance here today, 15,001. And the next pitch is over. So the count now 2 balls, 1 strike. Astros have drawn 943,873 for their overall season. A swing at a changeup, strike 2, and Phil Lynch pulls completely. A good pitch by Bo Belinsky. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Atlanta, in winning that ball game against Cincinnati, holding their position. Now a call, strike 3. And Belinsky gets his 7th strikeout. His 1-2-3 inning. Gives him 16 batters retired in a row, and the score at the end of 6.5 innings, the Astros 3, the Mets 2.
When you buy a new car, it's the dealer that makes the difference. That's why it's time for you to head for Armory Garage, Central at Colvin in Albany, where there's a Plymouth or Chrysler to fit every pocketbook. You know that you can buy the same car from any Plymouth dealer, and you'll get the same warranty. The difference lies in the deals. Armory Garage is the area's volume Plymouth dealer. Volume sales allow Armory Garage to offer you that new car for less, so you can afford the model and size you want. When it comes to warranties, the 5-year, 50,000-mile Chrysler Products warranty can't be beat, especially when it's backed up by the Armory Garage Service Department. For best selection, best price, and best trade, see Armory Garage. Remember, you can buy, sign, and pay at Armory Garage, home of 101 time payment plans. Head for Armory Garage, Central at Colvin in Albany.
Going now to the bottom half of the seventh, Hal Renniff, who was warming up, has now completed his warm-ups and is sitting down. Mets did not get 4 men up in the inning, so they didn't have to go to a pinch hitter. And Ron Taylor now goes out to pitch here in the bottom half of the seventh. Ron came in the game in the first inning with 1 man out. He has given up 4 base hits, allowed 1 run. His first man will be Bo Walensky. Bo is 0 for 2. Bo is a left-hand batter. He's been at bat 27 times with 3 hits. And he fouls the first pitch, strike 1, ball down in the dirt. It'll be Bo Walensky, Ron Davis, and Joe Morgan. Morgan had a leadoff home run in the first for the Astros' first run. It was his 5th this year. Then Joe Morgan doubled, stole second base, his 10th stolen base of the year, and his first of 2 in this game, and scored when Jim Wynn grounded out to short. That tied up the ball game at 2-2. Next pitch to Walensky is down low. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Astros got their lead in the 4th inning on a double by Bob Aspromonte down the right field line. After Doug Rader had popped to first base, John Bateman grounded down to second base, and Aspromonte went over to third, where he scored on the single in the shallow right field by Bobby Lillis. Now a foul ball coming straight back. He counted 1-2. Starting pitcher for the Mets was Dennis Bennett. He gave up 2 runs in 1/3 of an inning, was charged with 3 hits. When Ron Taylor came in the game, he came in with a runner at first base and got Bob Aspromonte to hit into a double play. So he has worked 5 2/3 innings. And the next pitch is inside. It's ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That is the longest he has gone this year. Two balls, 2 strikes. Walensky with a close stance, swinging the bat back and forth. And the pitch by Taylor. Popped up in foul territory, and it'll go out of play. So Walensky prolongs his time at bat. Bo is one of Bo's famous quotes. If music be the champagne of love, then play on. A fellow by the name of Shakespeare might have written that first. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And it's down low in the count now at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Bo considers having a good season in the major leagues is just sticking around all year. New ball put in play by Shag Crawford, and he gets a hand for firing the ball back to the pitcher's mouth. Chris Pellicudis, the umpire at first base, Doug Harvey at second, and John Kibler at third. 3-2. And the pitch is called strike 3, and Ron Taylor picked up a borderline strikeout, his second in the ball game, and that's the first out here in the bottom half of the 7th. It brings up the leadoff batter, Ron Davis. Seaver with a base hit and 3 times up. His base hit was his 5th home run. Right-hand batter, and the first pitch by Taylor is bunted out toward third. Here comes Charles. A tough play for him. He slips the first base, and it is in time. Fine play by Ed Charles, and a close play at first. Nellie Fox is talking with Chris Baracudis about the call, but that is all. Not a strong protest. So Ed Charles, who has been playing a fine third base for the Mets, picks up the second out, and that brings up Joe Morgan. Joe's had a good night. 2 for 3 with 2 stolen bases, a run scored. Morgan now with an average of 297. Left-hand batter with great speed. 3-2 the Astros. 2 men out, bottom half of the 7th, and Ron Taylor with the pitch. It's down low and inside, and Morgan has to skip rope. We'll have all the scores for you right after the end of this half inning. Not a whole lot of action going, but more than you'd think on a Monday night. 1-0 pitch over the inside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Monday used to be off day for baseball years ago. Doubleheaders on Sunday with Monday off, but it doesn't figure that way anymore. And at 1-1, the pitch to Morgan. And it's lined to left field. It's curving and slips there. Ball off of the side, and Morgan goes to second with a double and holds there. Ball staying fair by a matter of about 3 or 4 or 5 inches. Morgan now 3 for 4. That is his second double in the ball game. He now has 20. And the Astros, with 2 men out, have a runner in scoring position with their big man coming up, Jim Wynn. Certain ball players against certain ball clubs seem to have some sort of inside information, and they just do well. Then you look down at the sheet to see their overall batting record, and you can't figure out how they can hit so poorly against the other clubs when they look so good against the club you watch them play. Morgan, of course, does well against all clubs, but he does exceptionally well against the Mets. Jim Wynn, the batter, and action in the bullpen for the Mets, and the first pitch is outside the ball. Don Shaw is starting to warm up, a left-hander, along with Hal Rennick. Hal up for the second time. Astros now have 9 hits in the ball game and 6 off Ron Taylor. This is a big point for the Mets in this game. They can get this man out without a run scoring. They're still close enough to get back in. They trail by 1. 2 men away, bottom half of the 7th. Now Taylor, who appears to be tiring, sets up, and the pitch to the plate. Swung on him, missed a good slider, and the count now 1 ball and 1 strike. Ron has been taking a lot more time between pitches. In fact, he has been leaning over with his hands and his knees off of the pitching rubber before taking the sign. This is the furthest he has gone. Came in the ball game in the first with 1 man out. Now the right-hander sets up again. A check at second, the 1-1 pitch. It is up high, and it's ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. Ron steps off the pitching rubber, mops his brow. It's 72 degrees in here. Temperature always at 72. The day outside, it was 95 degrees with 70% humidity. Now Taylor looked in for the sign. 2 balls, 1 strike. A check at second, Morgan there. And the pitch to the plate. And the ball is swung on a miss. Again, a good slider down around the knees over the outer part of the plate. So the count 2-2 with 2 men out here in the bottom half of the 7th. On deck batter, Rusty Staub, the Major League's leading batter. Jim Wynn leads the Major Leagues in runs batted in the National League in home runs. He has 27 home runs and 84 runs batted in. Picked one up today. Two balls, 2 strikes. And Taylor now with the pitch. It is swung on a miss, strike 3, and Ron Taylor completes his pitching performance by striking out Jim Wynn for a fine job, well done. Taylor will be going out for a pinch hitter in the bottom half of the coming up inning, and so that will be all for him. He worked a very strong 6 2/3 inning, and the strikeout was his 4th in the ball game as he worked through that time. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, a man left at second base, and the score at the end of 7. The Astros 3, the Mets 2. In other games in the National League, the St. Louis Cardinals defeated Chicago 9-2. The winning pitcher was Washburn. The losing pitcher was Nye. Cepeda got his 18th. Brock got his 14th. San Francisco beat Pittsburgh 8-4. The winning pitcher McCormick, the losing pitcher Pizarro, Clendenin, and Hyatt had home runs. Hyatt won the ball game with a grand slam home run in the 8th. Starting pitchers, Philadelphia at Los Angeles. Dick Ellsworth going for the Phillies against Don Drysdale. Atlanta beat Cincinnati 5-2. The winning pitcher was Phil Niekro. The losing pitcher was Mel Queen. Pete Boyer a home run in the 5th with 1 man on. In the American League, Kansas City topped the Yankees 8-6. Winning pitcher was Pierce in relief. The losing pitcher was Tillotson. Lindblad a home run in the 7th with no one on. Whitaker and Smith for the Yankees. Boston beat Minnesota 4-0. Lee Stang, the winning pitcher, he pitched a 3-hitter. Boswell, the loser. Yastrzemski got his 26th in the 3rd with 2 men on. Going now to the top of the 10th inning, the White Sox 2, Cleveland 2. In the top of the 10th inning. And now a home run by Rocky Colavito with the Chicago White Sox. And the White Sox are leading on the home run by Rocky. He just joined the ball club by a score of 4-2 as a bat in the top of the 10th. That completes the American League schedule. Right here, the Mets are trading 3-2 as they come to bat in the top of the 8th. And here for the play-by-play, Lindsey Nelson.
Thank you very much, Ralph Kahn, and hello again, everybody. Bob Johnson is coming up to bat now for Ron Taylor. Johnson has a season's batting average of .348. As a pinch hitter, he is 8 for 21. And as we go to the 8th, there is now double barrel action in the bullpen for the Houston Astros. Carol Sembera and Dan Schneider are up and throwing, a right-hander and a left-hander. For the New York Mets, Hal Runniff continues to throw down in the bullpen as Johnson steps in now to face Bo Belinsky, who has retired 16 consecutive batters. Here's the first pitch in the 8th inning. Swung on and hit high into the air, out into left center field. Jim Wynn goes over and calls. He's underneath and waiting, and Wynn makes the catch. Johnson has flied out. 17 consecutive batters retired by Belinsky as Bud Harrelson will come up. He walked, and grounded out, 3rd to 1st. Now pitch to 10 for a called strike. Leon Jones has moved out on deck. Houston leading the Mets by a score of 3-2. Belinsky takes the sign. And here's the pitch. It's inside low for a ball. Bo Belinsky got off to a shaky start here tonight, but he's settled down. Here's a 1-1 pitch, and it's in for a call, strike 2. Belinsky's last Major League complete game was June 29th, 1965. A 7-1 win for the Phillies over the San Francisco Giants. Here's a pitch high. So it goes 2-2 now to Harrelson. The Mets scored 2 runs in the top of the 1st and left 2 runners on board. This is a 2-2 delivery, and it is swung on and missed. Belinsky gets his 8th strikeout. Now we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
Stay tuned to the new bright sound in radio. WGY, 810 on your dial in Schenectady, New York.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Ralph Kanner and Bob Murphy at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. The Mets are batting in the top of the 8th, trailing by a run. Cleon Jones is up with nobody on base and 2 men out. A right-hand batter facing left-hand pitcher, Bo Belinsky. Here's a swing and a foul ball on the ground back of 3rd out of play. Lining up against the railing outside the Met dugout. 3rd base umpire John Kibler retrieves the ball and tosses it across to the ball boy. So it's a strike 1 count to Cleon Jones. He was on an error by Aspromonte in the 1st inning. It was scored as an error. It was a hard smash down pass, Aspro. Cleon grounded into a force play in the 2nd inning, and he grounded out 3rd to 1st in the 5th. Now the strike one delivery. Swung on it on the ground. A high hopper to short. Taken there by Lillis and gunned across the first and just in time to get Cleon Jones. So now Bobulinski has retired 19 consecutive batters. No runs, no hits, no errors, not left. In the middle of the eighth, the score is the Astros 3, the Mets 2.
Question. Why do they say detecting the disease early is important when it comes to cancer?
Answer. Because it's less likely that early cancer has spread to more than one part of the body. Therefore, it can be cured more easily.
Question.
Well, how could I tell I might have early cancer?
Answer.
You can't tell, but you can learn cancer's 7 danger signals and go to your doctor if one appears.
Questions about cancer. Knowing the correct answers could help you save your life. The American Cancer Society says that knowing cancer's 7 danger signals, knowing the value of yearly health checkups, knowing these things is your best protection against cancer. For answers to questions you may have about this disease, or for a free booklet of vital facts, write or telephone your American Cancer Society.
Follow the football action in Kennedy Stadium, Bridgeport, Friday night, August 4th. Kickoff time is 7:30 p.m. Don't miss it. And now Hal Reniff comes in to do the pitching for the New York Mets. As Ron Taylor worked 6 2/3 innings, he gave up only 1 run on 6 hits. He struck out 4 and he walked 1 intentionally. Rusty Staub will be up to lead off for the Astros. He is 1 for 2 and an intentional walk. Hal Reniff is making his 15th appearance of the season. He has a record of 3 wins and 1 loss. He worked yesterday for an inning in the first game, allowed no runs, no hits, struck out 1 and walked none. Right-hander Reniff to the left-hand batter Staub. It's low, bounce off the glove of Koosman and on back to the screen. It's ball 1. Bob Aspermani on deck. 1-0 pitch to Staub. Hit deep to right. It's way back, and Swoboda goes to the warning track and hauls it down. Rusty Staub got around on that one and drove it into the warning track and right. 1 away. When you pull the tab on the Rheingold Chug-a-Mug, the top comes off with a hiss that sounds like the good Rheingold flavor inside. 6 12-ounce mugs to the carton. You'll find them in the Chug-a-Mug special display at your local stores in New York and New Jersey. Now Aspermani is up. Hal Reniff fields a pitch that's low for a ball. By the way, Wednesday afternoon, August 9th, there'll be Senior Citizens Day at Shea Stadium. The Mets will be playing the Atlanta Braves. And all fans 60 years of age or older will be admitted for the 50-cent service charge. That's Wednesday afternoon, August 9th. Pitch to Aspermani, and it is high for a ball. Reniff goes behind 2-0. The Astros are leading the Mets by a score of 3-2. Reniff takes a sign from Greg Koosman. Deals 2-0. It's low. He goes behind 3 balls, no strike. Dennis Bennett started here tonight. Pitched a third of an inning. Was charged with 2 runs on 3 hits. Larry Sherry is up and throwing now in the Houston bullpen. Here's a pitch high, and Aspermani draws a walk. That's only the second walk issued by Met pitchers tonight. Brings up Doug Rader, who is making his major league debut. Scratched an infield hit in the second inning. Popped out in the fourth and struck out in the sixth. Manager Wes Westham now comes out of the dugout to talk to his batterymen. Talks to Reniff and to Koosman very briefly, and Westham turns now. Comes back to the dugout as by the time Westham got there, Reniff was walking back to the mound already. John Bateman is on deck. Renner's pitch, low and away. 1-1. The bullpen areas here are located just at the far end of the dugout. And the pitcher warming up is not facing the plate. He has his back to the plate. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Swung on it on the ground to third. Taken by Charles. He goes to left. That's one. The relay to first. He's safe at first. Waiter beats the relay. So the Astros have a runner at first now with 2 men out, and John Bateman coming up. The Mets tried for a double play, going around from Charles to Lentz to Craneville, but Doug Rader beats the relay. We started to say the pitcher warming up here is a vulnerable target for foul balls, and so Dave Eilers has drawn the chore of protecting the pitcher. Eilers, with the glove, is facing the home plate area, and he's about 3 feet behind Larry Sherry, who is warming up, throwing the other direction. Now the pitch to Bateman. Swung on and foul back off the screen. It's strike one. I would guess that the assignment to go out there and protect the pitcher warming up is not one that carries a great deal of prestige with it. Two-away, runner at first. Astros 3 and the Mets 2. Swinging a foul ball to the right side. Not a play. 2 strikes. If you're not keeping score and you want to look ahead to the top of the ninth, the Mets are scheduled to send up Tommy Davis, Ron Swoboda, and Ed Charles. Bob Lillis is waiting on deck. This will be a 2-strike pitch to John Bateman. Aspromonte leads, and the pitch is swung it on the ground to third. Charles up, he's going across to first. Low, dug out on the short hop by Craneville in time to retire the side. So Hal Runup comes in to get the Astros in the 8th with no runs, no hits, no errors, a walk, and 1 left. Score at the end of 8 full innings is Houston 3 and the Mets 2 and 9.
Zero in on performance and a feel of luxury that lets you know this is your car, Plymouth 1967. Zero in on savings and the kind of selection that lets you know this is your dealer. Armory Garage in Albany, where prices have never been better. The salesmen at Armory want to show you all the 67 Plymouths, Furies, and Belvederes. Then they want to show you how easy it is for you to own one. Your present car will probably cover the down payment, and the balance can be comfortably taken care of over 3 years or less. Choose from any one of Armory's 101-time payment plans. Armory has carloads of new cars in stock ready for your inspection and immediate delivery. So swing into a new Plymouth, Fury, or Belvedere and make your choice now while the selection is high. Hurry, though, to Armory Garage, Central at Colvin and Albany, your Chrysler, Plymouth, and Valiant volume headquarters.
We're going now to the top half of the 9th inning, and the New York Mets will be sending up Tommy Davis, Ron Swoboda, and Ed Charles. Bo Belinsky, who is on the ropes in the very first inning of this ball game, has a 1-hitter going to the 9th. And despite the fact that he has a 1-hitter, manager Grady Hatton has double barrel action in the bullpen down here. He has Dan Schneider and Larry Sherry throwing in the Houston bullpen as we go to the top of the 9th. Houston leading by a score of 3-2. In the top half of the first inning, Harrelson walked. Leon Jones smashed one down past Aspromonte. It was scored as an error. And then Tommy Davis singled to right to score a run, and that was the only hit the Mets have had in this ball game. Swoboda walked, and after Charles struck out, Koosman was at the plate when Belinsky wild pitched another run home. The Mets had 2, but the Astros got 2 in the bottom of the first, then came on to pick up another off Ron Taylor in the 4th, and they lead 3-2. So now Tommy Davis steps in as Belinsky is facing the outfield, getting settled down before turning to work to the Met left fielder, who tonight is 1 for 3. Now Belinsky's pitch. Swung out and it's high out in the left center field, and it's going to drop in for a base hit. One hop by Wynn. A leadoff single here in the ninth inning. The second hit for the Mets off Belinsky. And Tommy Davis has them both. He is on at first, representing tying run with nobody out in the ninth inning. And now we're getting Dick Selma coming in to run for Tommy Davis at first base. Dick Selma running for Davis at first. Swoboda walked, struck out, and struck out so far. Hitting .250 for the season, right-hand batter. Doug Rader holds against the runner. Here's the pitch, swung on and fouled off. It's strike one. Ed Charles waiting in the on-deck circle. Houston 3, the Mets 2. With the New Yorkers batting in the top half of the ninth inning. Bo Belinsky trying to turn in a complete game victory here. Here is a pitch low and away. Belinsky has not had a complete game in the majors since June 29th, 1965. He goes to the rosin bag, tosses it down, adjusts his uniform now. Hands on hips, taking a little breather before getting ready to work again to Ron Swoboda. Ball game is over in Cleveland. The Chicago White Sox have won it by a score of 4-2. Cleveland out scorelessly in the 10th inning. So they won it on a 2-run hold by Rocky Colavito in the 10th, and they only got Colavito a couple of days ago from Cleveland. Here's a pitch high. So it's 2-1 to Swoboda. Well, when you're going down the stretch like the White Sox are, and you pick up extra ball players, if they can win 1 or 2 games for you, you figure that you have invested well. Right here, the Mets have the tying run at first. Selma leads, and here's the pitch. Swung on and pops up foul down the right field line. Chased over by Staub, but it's going on into the seats, not a play. Doug Rader, the first baseman, turned and went racing back in fair territory. And Joe Morgan was cutting over, and Staub was coming across toward the bullpen. The ball hit in the third row of the stand. The count is even now at 2-2 to Ron Swoboda. Houston 3 runs, 9 hits. The Mets 2 runs, 2 hits. Now, Bo Belinsky is up and set. He checks the runner at first. And here's a 2-2 pitch high and away. So the count runs out full at 3-2 to Ron Swoboda. Ed Charles kneeling in the on-deck circle. Belinsky again turns his back to the plate, goes to the rosin bag, flips it down. Selma leads. This will be a payoff pitch. It's on the way, high and away, walking. That is the 4th walk in this game by Bo Belinsky. Here's the Mets runners at first and second, and brings Houston manager Grady Hatton out of the dugout. Ed Charles will be the batter. He's got a right-hand pitcher, Larry Sherry, down there, and a left-hander, Dan Snyder. The Mets have the tying run at second base and the go-ahead run at first base with nobody out here in the top half of the ninth inning. Charles will be the batter, and he's to be followed by Greg Doosan in the Met batting order. Grady Hatton is talking now to his batterman, and the sign goes to the bullpen, I think, for Sherry. Larry Sherry turns and starts walking in. So, Bo Belinsky does not get a complete game no matter what. Meanwhile, Met third base coach, Salty Parker, has been in the dugout talking to manager Wes Westerman. He comes out to talk to Ed Charles. A little direct communication here so that there can't be any mix-up on signs. And a hand for Belinsky. Belinsky pitched 8 full innings, faced 2 men here in the ninth, scored so far with 2 runs on only 2 hits. He struck out 9, and he walked 3. He had retired 19 consecutive batters when Tommy Davis got the single in the top half of the ninth inning. And now as Sherry warms up to check us out on scores, here's Ralph.
St. Louis Cardinals picked up a full game on the Chicago Cubs and also on the Cincinnati Reds. They defeated the Chicago Cubs 9-2. The winning pitcher was Washburn. The losing pitcher was Nye. Cepeda and Brock had home runs. Cepeda 18 now and Brock 14. Cincinnati Reds were defeated by the Atlanta Braves 5-2, and they are now trailing by 8.5 games, and the National League race. The Cubs are losing. They're trailing by 4.5 ball games. In that ball game, the winning pitcher was Phil Negro. Mel Queen was the losing pitcher. Clete Boyer home in the fifth with a man on. Atlanta, by winning, remaining 8.5 games back. Philadelphia playing against the Dodgers at the end of 1/2 inning. Philadelphia won. The Dodgers coming up. Dick Ellsworth pitching for the Phillies. Don Drysdale going for the Dodgers. And San Francisco beat Pittsburgh 8-4. And the winning pitcher, McCormick, the losing pitcher was Pizarro.
All right, Ralph. Stepping in now is Ed Charles. The Mets have runners first and second. Nobody out, so the Astros have to protect against the sacrifice likelihood. Larry Sherry steps off the rubber. Yesterday, Sherry got a save in the first game of the doubleheader for Wade Blasting game, the 6-5 game. He worked 2 1/3 innings, gave up 1 run on 4 hits. He's a right-hand pitcher. And here is the pitch. It is bunted out and missed for strike 1. The Astros were playing it defensively with first baseman Doug Rader charging. Third baseman Ascomani going to the bag. Sherry covering on the third base side. And shortstop Lillis going to the bag at second. Salty Parker, cross time, comes down now to have a word again with Ed Charles. He bunted on the pitch and he missed it. It's strike 1. The Astros are leading 3-2. Now the pitch, and Charles again bunts and fouls it up the third base line. The count goes to 2 strikes. Greg Goosman is waiting on deck. So twice Charles has tried to bunt, missed once and fouled it once. So now he is in a hole with a 2-strike count. As you know, if he should try to bunt this one and bunt it foul, he's a strikeout victim. Tying run at second. Go ahead run at first. Nobody out in the ninth. Larry Sherry takes the sign from John Bateman. Charles nothing for 3 in tonight's game. Here's a pitch, and it's low. 1-2. Charles struck out, grounded out, and grounded out. Season's batting average of .264. Dan Schneider continues to throw down the Houston bullpen. Runners lead first and second. Pitcher swung it on the ground is short. Taken by Lillis. Played to Morgan for 1. The throw to first, and he beats the relay. So the middleman is out, and Selma goes to third. Swoboda was forced at second base, and Charles beats the relay. So it gives Mets runners at first and third. 1 man out, and Greg Goosman coming up. That calls for a conference now between catcher Johnny Bateman and pitcher Larry Sherry. So it's come to this. The Houston Astros would like to pull off a game-ending double play, and the New York Mets want to get that tying run in from third base. Larry Stahl is throwing down in the Met bullpen at this moment. And Tommy Reynolds is also throwing down there. Grady Hatton comes out of the dugout. He wants to know what this conference is about between Bateman and Sherry, and Morgan is joining him also. Greg Goosman is the batter. He has struck out, grounded out, and popped out so far. Season's batting average of .250. Goosman is a right-hand batter. Hatton is still out there. Now he comes back to the dugout. They just want to know how they're going to work on Greg Goosman here. Charles is the runner at first. Selmer is the runner at third. Selmer is checking now with Salty Parker, the third base coach, to see what he does on various situations. Greg Goosman now is coming back to the dugout. And Larry Stahl has come into the dugout. Wes Westrom pacing up. Goosman takes off the helmet. Jerry Grody has come out there to continue throwing with Tommy Reynolds in the bullpen area. And here comes Larry Stahl, a left-hand batter now. Stahl is hitting .227 for the season. He has 1 home run and 14 runs batted in. So now again Bateman goes out to talk to Sherry, and Joe Morgan, the second baseman, comes in again as they again want to figure out how they work to Larry Stahl.
One move right here that is probably one of the prime reasons why Wes has gone to a left-hand batter is to stay out of the double play. The left-hander, of course, a little bit harder to double up, and Greg Goosman certainly a lot easier to double up than most ball players. All right, with 1 man out, the Houston Astros are leading the Mets by a score of 3-2 with the Mets batting in the top of the ninth.
The Mets have runners at first and third. Larry Sherry is working in relief of Bo Belinsky, who is the pitcher of record. Sherry takes the sign. Met runners lead first and third. The pitch to Larry Stahl. Swung on it on the ground. Foul. Back of first. Over the outstretched glove of first baseman Doug Rader. So Dick Selma, who is off and running on the ground ball, returns to third. Charles tags up at first. A count of strike one to Larry Stahl. Ed Cranepool is on deck for the Mets. Now again, Sherry sets up and deals. His pitch is low as Stahl started to go and laid off, and it's 1-1. The Mets got 2 runs here tonight in the top half of the first inning, and the Astros matched them with 2 in the bottom of the first. And then the Astros got 1 in the bottom of the fourth, and that's all the scoring we've had in this ball game. Here's a pitch to Stahl, swung on and missed. 1-2. Dave Eiler starts to throw now down in the Houston bullpen along with Dan Schneider. The count to Stahl has gone to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Larry Sherry leans forward, takes the sign. Here's the pitch. Low. And the count evens at 2-2. Stahl steps back now. Mops his brow with the sleeve of his uniform. Settles himself carefully back in. Pounds the plate. On the mound, Larry Sherry. On the rubber. Bends forward to take a sign from John Bateman. Met runners lead first and third. The pitch swung on and fouled off. He's still alive. It's 2-2. The New York Mets and the Houston Astros battling here at the Astrodome in the third game of this 5-game series. Yesterday, the Astros won both ends of a doubleheader, 6-5 and 9-1. Stahl is back in and waiting. 2-2 pitch. Swung on and popped up back at second base. Lillis goes out. Selma comes halfway. Lillis makes the catch. Runners return. No advance. 2 away. Shortstop Bob Lillis went out into short center field to make the catch of a high pop. Runners went halfway. Returned after the catch. No advance. And now Cranepool is coming up. Cranepool tonight has flied to left, grounded out to first base, and grounded out short to first. Now again, a conference at the mound. Shortstop Bob Lillis. Second baseman Joe Morgan. Pitcher Larry Sherry. Catcher John Bateman. The pitcher of record for Houston at this point is Belinsky, and the pitcher of record at this point for the Mets is Ron Taylor. Now the conference is broken up. Bateman comes back behind the plate. Lillis back at short and Morgan at second. Cranepool steps in. Ed Charles the runner at first. Dick Selma the runner at third with 2 men out in the top of the ninth. Houston leading 3-2. Here's a pitch that's high and away for ball 1. Larry Sherry on the rubber now. Looks in again for the sign. He's up and set. Here's the pitch. Swung on, hit on the ground, foul. Back to first and into the dugout of the Houston Astros. So the count goes 1-1 now to Ed Cranepool. Phil Lentz is waiting on deck. Third baseman Bob Aspromonte comes over to have a word with Sherry. The Astros play Cranepool just about straight away. He asks that the ball be examined. It's tossed in. Shag Crawford looks at it and leaves it in play. The count to Cranepool is 1-1. Now, Sherry on the rubber takes the sign. Med runners lead first and third, a 1-1 pitch. Swung on and foul back off the screen, out of play. So now the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cranepool measures his stance. Cherry takes the sign. Net runners lead first and third. The 1-2 pitch, and it's low. Out of the glove of Bateman. He keeps it in front of him, rolls it about 3 or 4 feet up the third base line. No advance. Runners holding first and third. And the count to Cranepool, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Charles at first, Elmer at third. Cherry has the sign. Off the stretch, the 2-2 pitch. Swung on, and hits, and the ball game is over. Larry Cherry gets the save as he strikes out at Cranepool to end the ball game as the Houston Astros win it by a score of 3-2 as the inning ends and the ball game ends with the Mets having the tying run at third base. So in the top of the ninth, the Mets failed to score. They had a hit and a walk, no errors, and left 2. We'll be back in a moment with the final summary and totals. Right now, the final score of the game is Houston 3, the Mets 2. And now here's a word from Rheingold.
Look, you can't pull the wool over their eyes. You can't kid the public around here. You can't put one over on these guys. They'll cut you right out on your ear. In this town, either you have it or you don't. Either you're a pro or you won't get very far. Hey!
There are 302 beers trying to make it in New York, from all over. But only one beer has made it to the top. The rich rye lager Rheingold. In this town, either you have it or you don't.
In this town, either you have it or you don't. Either you're a pro or you won't get very far. Either you have it or you don't.
Rheingold.
Here at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, the Astros have defeated the Mets 3-2. And to tell you something of how they did it, here's Ralph Kiner.
All the starting pitchers in the ball game were Bo Belinsky and also Dennis Bennett, and the game started off as though it might be a high-scoring affair with neither pitcher going the distance. It proved that Dennis Bennett did not go the distance, but Bo Belinsky was working on a one-hitter as he started the ninth inning. In the first inning, Bud Harrelson walked, and Cleon Jones was safe on an error, putting runners at first and second. Tommy Davis singled to right field to drive in a run, and that put the Mets in the position of having a runner at first and third. Later on a wild pitch, the Mets got their second run, but Belinsky got out of the inning as he picked up Eddie Cranepool on a fly ball to left field. Mets scoring 2 runs and 1 hit in the very first inning. The Astros quickly came back as they picked up a home run on their first batter, Ron Davis. It was his 5th this year. A double right after that by Joe Morgan put the tying run at second base. He moved over to third when he stole third base. That was his 10th steal of the year and his first of 2 in the ball game. After that, Jim Wynn picked up a run batted in as he grounded down to short. That was his 84th. He leads the majors, and it was the second run for the Astros. That put the score at 2-2 as the Mets got out of the inning when Ron Taylor came in to pick up a double play on Bob Aspromani. The Astros got what proved to be the winning run in the 4th inning on a double by Bob Aspromani. He later on scored when the shortstop Bobby Lillis singled into right field to give the Astros their 3rd run. The Mets were held at bay, and Bo Belinsky, after getting in trouble in the first inning and starting the second with a walk, came in and then retired the next 19 batters as he worked through the 8th inning. In the 9th inning, Tommy Davis, who had had the only base hit, singled into left field as he led off the inning on the very first pitch. Ron Swoboda worked out a walk on a 3-2 pitch to put runners at first and second, the tying run at second, and the go-ahead run at first. That brought in Larry Cherry, who was the star of the 1959 World Series for the Dodgers when he won 2 games and saved 2. Larry just about duplicated his great performance in 1959 as he got the next 3 batters, striking out Ed Cranepool with the tying run at third base and the go-ahead run at first. So Larry Cherry got his 5th save, and Bo Belinsky got his 3rd win. Bo now with 3 wins and 7 losses. And the Astros now have won 7 consecutive ball games, and the Mets now have lost 6 consecutive ball games. Best game that Bo ever pitched was back on May 5th, 1962, and Belinsky then no-hit the Baltimore Orioles and won by a score of 2-0. Mets in July closed out their record with 14 wins and 17 losses, and the Astros, by winning, won their 46th ball game. We'll be back with more about the baseball game in just one moment.
Mets fans, imagine if you can the glorious Mets in person at Shea Stadium. Try to visualize the excitement of big league baseball. The triumphant Mets face-to-face with the Chicago Cubs, all yours absolutely free. See Tommy Davis, Yogi Berra, Wes Westrom, and the whole team. Win a pair of tickets to the Mets game coming up Saturday, August the 12th. Just send a card to Glorious Mets, WGY Schenectady. You may win 2 free tickets to the Cubs-Mets game on Saturday, August the 12th. Our most recent Mets ticket winner was Raymond P. Stack of Scotia. Now, make it easy on yourself when you tune in all the evening and weekend Mets games here on WGY. Get a handy-dandy WGY program schedule that gives you the times, dates, and places of Mets baseball on WGY. For a WGY Mets schedule, write Mets schedule, WGY Schenectady.